Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and we've got Austin, but you can't see his head. I gotta fix. So we've had so many technical issues here already, but I'm gonna get it all fixed. Now he's gigantic.
I'm the headless co-host.
Absolute yeah. You're the day headless ghost.
Oh yeah, I am huge.
No, it's actually hilarious. Anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us for DCEU Mania. We're absolute insane people, so we're gonna watch every DCEU film over the next 2 weeks. Originally, this was supposed to be a 3-week project, and I got my wires crossed, and I've got a trip I've got to take the 3rd week. So now we're gonna double up some of these, and we're gonna try to sneak it into the best we absolutely can. I'm sure nothing else will go wrong. Austin.
Really, what else could possibly go wrong?
What else could go wrong? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, Bubsy. Maybe everything.
Yeah, never say that is really what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I've also got to fix my clock here. But thanks for joining us, folks. Sorry about the delay here. But we're here now. We're not going to have too much preamble at all. We're going to get right into this. These are going to be watch parties. These are going to be classic old-school manias going back to the Marvel Mania days, meaning all we're promising is that we will watch the movie. That's literally all we're promising. We will say things, I am sure, but we will be here chatting with you guys while the movies are running. These are not formal commentaries. We've not prepped for these at all. But there are a couple of fun purposes for this. First of all, I needed to rewatch all of these anyway because we've got a couple of projects we wanted to do just before Superman comes out, which is also why I've got to get this truncated in a couple of weeks because we have kind of a window of when we wanted to do this, and we wanted to rank the DCEU movies, and I was going to do it without rewatching them, Austin, and then I went, some of these I just don't remember that well, and I think it would be an even more arbitrary exercise if I didn't take a look at them again. And so I wanted to watch through them, but I didn't see having the time to do that with my schedule. So I was like, well, we could just take a couple weeks off and have kind of a break on the channel anyway. And we'll still be streaming, but it's basically a what do you call it? I'm having a brain freeze all of a sudden. It's basically a hiatus, but we're here anyway. That's basically what we're doing. And so we wanted
the craziest hiatus.
So we wanted to do a ranked list, although this is precedented. I have done this sort of thing before. But anyway, so we wanted to do a ranked list, and we're also planning a top 50 worst superhero movies, and I know some of these, of course, will be there, but some of the movies that I disliked the most, because I didn't like them, I've only seen them once, and in order to rank them, I felt like I needed to give them one more go, a fair shake, especially with a little bit of hindsight, given that this continuity isn't happening anymore. And if I learned anything from the X-Men movies, it's some of those I just don't feel as strongly about when things change. And so I thought it would be really interesting to watch all of these again together, after they, for better or worse, like lack of a better way of putting it, don't matter anymore. That's not fair, especially, you know, for the ones you like, or if you're a big fan of a lot of these. But I guess what I mean by that is just, there's not a stake in it anymore. There's not a dog in it. I'm not stuck with these. We're moving on to something else, and something that hopefully will be great, and something that I'm kind of excited about. But regardless of whether the new gun continuity is great or not, at least there's... if you don't see these as the definitive versions, we get to try again. You know, we get the reboot that I always wanted to see. So I'm going to give this another shot. And the other thing that I thought would be fun about this is just seeing what is supposed to be a shared universe, a continuity, rapid fire like this, like all in rapid succession. Originally just once per day, Austin. Now even a couple per day with a lot of these. This is a universe that was constantly retooled and reinvented, and seeing all of it at once like this, if we manage to get it all packed in a couple weeks, I think will be absolutely fascinating. And so it is a real different kind of exercise than doing these, as we will eventually for the Superhero Rewind commentary project, where we'll prep for them, we'll look at them with a fine-tooth comb, and we'll do a lot of story analysis. This is just us kind of watching through these again together, and hopefully enjoying them as best we can.
Yeah, exactly. We got to get through it. I mean, you pitched to me, I think, like 2 years ago, doing this exact idea, but for the animated New 52 movies, and I was like, that sounds like the worst idea possible. This is manageable. I can do this.
I don't even remember suggesting that, but I suggest a lot of things.
I think you suggested it to me, and I was like, yeah, I'll probably find someone else to do that with. That's a good idea.
Which tells you how much Austin didn't want to do that, because he never says that to me. Like, Austin is game for almost anything, and like really bad ideas, and with things that sound like no fun at all. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like he doesn't say no to much.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's wild to think that this continuity is as old as it is now, Austin, and that this goes back to 2013. So we're talking how many years now? 12?
I'm in my third? No, because it'd be the beginning. So I guess I'm in my second year of high school when this comes out.
Wow, that's nuts. And I'd already been doing the channel for 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So very different points in our lives.
And it's fun we're doing this in the summer. The timing is cool because this movie came out 2 days ago, 2013. So this was June 14, and today is the 16th.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember when exactly. I know this... I think I've talked about this a lot on the channel, but this is like right in the heat of 2013, where every new movie is the worst thing that's ever ever happened.
We talked about that a lot on the history.
And I feel like this is... Yeah, and I feel like this is near the end of it. Because I think by this point we definitely have Iron Man 3, but I think we've had In the Darkness by this point.
Darkness
and those were like the 3 big ones.
Darkness was this year, and I think you're right. I think it had it come out already. I think it was maybe a little after this.
It might have been a little after. It's like a little fuzzy in my head, but those are like the big 3 that I think of, where it was like, oh,
because those first 2 Star Trek movies were always like June or July. I don't think they were any earlier than that. And the last one was maybe they were all June or July.
Okay.
Did you know that 09, not to just get into Star Trek again, but did you know that 09 was originally supposed to be Christmas of the previous year? And then it got pushed back 6 months?
No, I didn't know that.
There are these really cool posters for it that say under construction, and then it's Christmas 2008.
Which is funny because Force Awakens is supposed to be May, and it gets pushed off to Christmas.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then now that's happened with Doomsday.
Yeah.
Now Doomsday's
Although I still feel like that's going to get pushed back to the May of the next year, but we'll see.
It could. I guess we'll see what ends up happening. But anyway, I promise not too much preamble, so let's go ahead and get into this. If you want to watch it with us, and we really encourage you to do that with these especially, get out, however you're going to watch it, DVD, Blu-ray, HBO Max, and it is back to HBO Max. Make sure, if you're watching on Max, that you jump 5 seconds ahead past the HBO logo. And I'm watching this on HBO right now just for convenience, Austin, but I've got my cool tin, my cool Man of Steel tin. This was a really awkward release. How the hell do you put it on a shelf? Like what do you do with this?
I remember when they put that out, so I'm at a point in my life where I become like really obsessed with box sets. Like I think I get the Lord of the Rings trilogy box set as a gift, and like from that point on I'm like, I love box sets. Like, I'll get like a whole series, like whatever. Like I'm really into that. And then they released that, and I was like, why did they release a box set for one movie? That's so dumb.
Hey, well, it's got like 5 discs in it. It's ridiculous. I don't even know what all of them are anymore. It's nuts.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff, which makes sense. I remember there being a ton.
Yeah, it flips out like this. It's so silly. I've shown this before.
Oh, I did.
But yeah,
I didn't know what the inside looked like. Okay.
It flips out, and it looks like a giant fortune cookie.
Discs fly out.
Discs fly out. Yeah, I think one of them's in 3D, and then this one's a special features, and that's a DVD, and that's a Blu-ray.
Okay, so they're like padding a little bit to get more discs.
They're padding hard, yeah. But I got this real cheap somewhere, and I had to have it, so...
What is a better set, though, Cap? Just Man of Steel on its own as a big box set, or the Man of Steel Black Adam one that they put out?
That's awesome. I kind of want that just to have it, like
just to have it. I know,
the
same
principle
here.
of the thing. Just be able to point that out in my superhero movie collection back here and be like, you want to see the dumbest thing? It's not that, but it's really close.
It is maybe one of the greatest releases of all time.
All right, here we go. So once again, let me reiterate, we're going to have a good time. We're going to chat about the movie as we watch the movie. There are no rules. We don't have to get super thorough into story analysis and stuff. If we go to those places, we're allowed to do that too. If we veer off and find ourselves talking about things that aren't even related to the movie, we're allowed to do that too. We can do anything we want to on this. And you guys can too. Leave super chats if you're so inclined. We'll make sure to read them, of course. And patrons, I should mention this real quick too, are getting to answer some questions for these that we'll read on air, so periodically I'll make sure and bring these up. We have a bunch of them, and Austin, if I can get you to the Discord ones, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I have it open.
I
figured
like 8 on Patreon, so if we can jump back and forth a little bit.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a ton. So it'll help us pad this. You know what? It'll be just like this release. We'll have plenty of padding for our show. We're going to do this for each of these. So I asked Patreon 3 questions, and if you want to engage in these with the next movie, BVS tomorrow night, and everything else, we got 15 more of these to do. Feel free to get on Patreon, patreon.com/geekvolution. Just the $2 tier gets you access to this, and you can tell us what your favorite scene or moment is in the movie. Tell us what the main thing you would change about the movie is, and when you first saw it, what's the big thing that most surprised you? And I thought those 3 questions would give us lots of fun things to talk about. I will try to gong whenever we get to people's favorite scenes, especially when there's consensus. There's a big consensus with this one, so there's one that came up more than anything else that we'll make sure and gong. And you can also ask us questions and anything that you want us to talk about the movie with Patreon as well. We'll make sure and answer all of these things as we go. We should have enough time, and you guys feel free to do that in the super chats as well. I'm not going to promise that we'll answer anything else live, but we'll try to answer some things as we go. Captain Kuhn has a $5 super chat, and he says, what could possibly go wrong? And sarcastically, mushroom cloud in background. Well, already we had a giant technical problem at the start. Hopefully nothing else goes wrong. Here we go.
The planet could explode.
Yeah, and then we'll just, roll time backwards. One of us will fly around the world. That's a different movie. Anyway, here we go. Everybody, we did that somewhat recently, too. Everybody, please press play.
Yeah.
Right! Now. Butter. So I still stand by this soundtrack. I love it. I know you're not a big Zimmer guy, but this is one of those ambient soundtracks that just kind of wraps me up. And when I was doing the rewind on this, I listened to this on repeat for a couple of weeks, and I fell in love with it more than I even had before.
Okay, there is audio here. I'm like trying to hear. I'm like, is my movie just deaf, or is there like barely anything playing? Okay. Yeah, this is. I hear a lot of people talk about really loving the soundtrack, but it's not one that really sticks with me. The big thing I just remember is that initial teaser where they played the theme from after Gandalf dies in Fellowship of the Ring, and I remember thinking that was really distracting.
It was a really good teaser and a really good trailer. I think that had a lot to do with its opening weekend. And I mean, it might have done fine just being Superman anyway, because it had been so long and people were going to be curious about... Because if you think about it, I mean, the weirdest thing about Superman is how long we went before we technically had a non-Christopher Reeve Superman connected movie. Like, Returns is really awkward. We don't have to talk about that again, but like, it was years and years and years. Like, this is the first big screen Superman movie that has nothing to do with that, and it took to 13.
But Superman in general will just leave for like a decade
That's true too.
before he gets to have another movie
But I mean,
when things go wrong.
it took 45 years.
Hmm. That is crazy.
So Austin, I had a few people when I announced this a little disappointed, saying they kind of wished we'd done a Superman Mania instead of this. And I thought my Mania days were behind me. I wouldn't have even thought to do that because these were just movies I needed to watch. So that's why I thought to do this. But I mean, we will have as much fun as we can with this. There's a part of me that kind of wishes I'd done that. I always thought a Superman Mania would be fun.
Yeah, John Kelling has like been in our Discord and talked about a basically Superman Mania he's doing personally.
Yeah,
and he's got like a list, and it's like insane. Like I've seen the list that he's doing, and it's basically like every single movie that has ever featured Superman. Like watching that within a month, it's insane.
Yeah, and we probably would have done what we did with Batmania and just watched things with Superman with the title, which would be significantly fewer than Batman, which is part of the reason I never did it. But a couple of weeks, you'd have enough material with all the animated stuff, certainly.
Yeah. No, very true.
Okay, so I want to look really closely and see if I can tell this time that Zod's chest piece is CG, because it blew my mind when I found that out.
Well, it's not just his chest piece, it's his whole suit. He's like just in a mocap costume.
I think pieces of it are there, but you're right, like all the bulky stuff, yeah.
I think it's the whole thing, man. Like, I think it just straight up is just a mocap suit he's wearing. I could be wrong, it's been a while,
It
but
is
I'm
legitimately
sure.
impressive, though. Although I will say when he walks in, it looks really, in this first scene, it looks really unnatural. It looks really awkward. Like, I can't tell that the suit is CG, but there's something wrong about the way his head is moving with it. It seems kind of awkward. But I don't know if it's like that anywhere else in the movie. I just noticed that here, but I still cannot tell that the clothes aren't real. That looks real to me.
Yeah, from what I remember, because I haven't watched this in probably like 8 years at least.
It's been a long time for me, too.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot of, if you're really looking for it, you can kind of see that he's moving in a weird way where you kind of just has to imagine how heavy that is.
I don't know what it was about this period where we thought I don't know what you even call it, but that effect with the metal stuff that you push in, like that toy that you put your hand or your face in, like we thought that was really futuristic. We did that here, and then we did it in Power Rangers with Zordon. And it's odd how dated that seems already. Like, I don't know if you'll ever see that again. Like, it seems goofy and cheesy to like everybody now.
When I always thought this Krypton looked very inspired by Avatar. Like, obviously not visually, in that it's not colorful like that, but especially once you get to Jor-El flying around on a dragon. And I mean, I guess you can't say Avatar is dated anymore now that we're having Avatar sequels.
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of strange.
True. I've heard the Avatar thing from
happening.
a lot of people, and that's one of those ideas that I have to be reminded of, because I don't think of it when I look at this, but then somebody says that, I'm like, okay, I mean, I can see it. Like, you're not wrong. Yeah. And this feels, with the dragon and everything, a little more kind of fantasy-inspired, but I've never minded the look of this Krypton.
No, my thing with Krypton is I don't need this to be an action scene. Like, there's interesting ideas here.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the movie is for me.
Talking about it.
And I don't mean that the first 15 minutes are great and then it all falls apart after that, because there's interesting stuff building on this later. I just don't understand all of it, and I don't feel like Snyder communicates things real well, and I don't know if some of the things that I'm bringing to it are actually really in the movie, particularly some of the nature-nurture stuff, which I've talked about a lot. But just all those initial ideas that I think are fascinating are here from the very start. And you got to give that to it, that there's a real foundation to build on. that it opens
No, like I
with.
said, that's always been the frustration to me. Is I do think some of this Krypton stuff is interesting, but like I said, I want this stuff to be more talky than it is, as opposed to flying around on a dragon while
Yeah,
ships explode.
me too.
But I
And
mean,
that's the director you've got. Like, that's the stuff that he wants to do. I mean, the
yeah,
problem is, and I've always said this, but his MTV sensibilities are always going to be at loggerheads with telling a complex and interesting story. And he thinks that's how you do that. That's Zack Snyder. Could you meld them better than he does? I mean, I think he melds them better here than he does in BVS. And so I think you could do it even better. Step one, coverage. But I'm just saying everything I've said before. Step one, coverage. Haraka does not sound like a Krypton name to me, but then a Kryptonian name. But then maybe you name your pets differently than people. You know,
he's
so
in the house of Akka.
Like Haraka sounds like a Wakandan name to me, or something, or like a Dune name, like somebody from Dune.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I can see some of this stuff influencing the Dune movies that we ended up getting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this looks like it could be in the Dune universe. Although I think Dune fans might have even been thinking that seeing this, like even before
Yeah,
those
absolutely.
movies, right? Like there's an aesthetic about it.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think of Crow's casting?
I think it's pretty good.
The casting of the performance,
Yeah, it's
like, do you think he plays a little stiff? Because I've always been kind of back and forth on it.
he does, but like I don't know. Like, I feel like he's one of the more charming performances in this movie.
He's got a
Yeah,
hard
I'm fine.
road to walk, right? Because he's
Yeah,
of a
because he
race.
also has to play very robotic.
He's a race. Yeah, but even and even before he's the Jor-El hologram, he's playing it kind of robotic, and he's of a race of robotic people. So the question is,
Yeah, that's what
would
I'm
it have
saying.
made sense for him to be a little more lively, given that he is pushing against Kryptonian dogma so hard and going the other way and having a child naturally and all of that? Like he's already pushing, he's already breaking so much ground and pushing so many envelopes that you could see him being a little bit more charismatic. But on the other hand, having him play it more wooden and be a little more computerish lends more credence to me for the read I've always had, which is the movie wants me to question whether what he's doing is also sort of pre-programmed, just like Zod. So it's like the because the idea is supposed to be, and again, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but the idea is supposed to be that Kryptonians are like built to do everything they do, and he's going against the grain and doing his own thing. So, did the programming eventually just lead to that also? Is it kind of like a life finds a way thing? That was always my read.
Yeah, for sure.
I always end up going back to talking about that stuff because that's what I find so interesting with this movie, and it's frustrating that I can't tell how much of it's intended.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of just this movie. It's I wish it was more idea focused than it is.
There's a part of
Russell
me that
Crowe, though,
likes.
as Jor-El, I feel like is closer to age appropriate casting. Because we always cast Jor-El really old, which is funny because he wouldn't be. He has a newborn baby.
Yeah, because whenever you see it animated, he's always a lot younger. But when you have a physical actor play him, yeah.
Yeah. He would be much closer to just the age that Superman is.
Stussy, I think the Batman and Joker should be included in DCEU Mania for historical context. We don't have time, and I wanted it to just be technically this continuity, such as it is.
Yeah, I don't want to have to rewatch Joker. We just did that.
And we both love the Batman, but
Yeah.
that's another 3 hours we don't have. Oh, it is the Phantom Drive. I forgot about that. I do think it's a really fun idea to use the Phantom Zone as also your means of propulsion. Like, I get...
Yeah. Like that's like your warp.
I got really into the kind of sci-fi ideas, and one of the things that I loved about this movie when it first came out was that, despite the fact that, like I said, Krypton itself looks a little fantasy inspired just in the design of it, it is for the first time taking Superman and making it much more of a straight up science fiction movie, with the terraforming and with the space travel and the Phantom Drive and the Kryptonians like struggling to breathe on the planet and all of that. Like, it feels like a science fiction novel. That's super
so much
cool.
just thought put into the world building of this movie, which is part of that, like my frustration. Like I said at the beginning of this, is just I want to see more of that on screen. Like, a lot of that I just know from them talking about it.
When you look at the behind the scenes, you see the potential for a way more interesting background with Krypton, and it makes me I just feel like so much work was put into stuff that you never see, that's never on screen, never talked about, and the thing is, that's okay for set dressing and making the world feel more realized, where sometimes in really great world-building movies, you don't know what all of it means, but Austin, you can see all of it. You don't know what it is, but you know it's there, and it adds texture, and it adds flavor. And here, look how close we are to everything. I mean, I feel like there are, like, millions of dollars put into, like, scenery and costumes and stuff that, unfortunately, we don't actually get in the movie. That's not fair to the people that worked on it. Like, that stuff bugs me.
Some of that CGI too, when Jor-El and Zod are fighting, is a little wonky too.
Hot Soup says he does not like this Krypton at all. I wanted this whole movie to be Krypton when I first saw it, partly because I find this Jor-El more relatable than the Superman. Like, I feel like I get him more and what he's about, and Superman we're just not close enough to, and he doesn't talk about stuff he does. He seems real distant, and I can't totally tell where his values are. The movie is telling me what his values are, but I can't always tell if the character is really there.
You know what just happened, Cap? Zod just killed Jor-El in front of Vanessa.
I honestly did not know it was that actress until this viewing, and immediately when she came on frame, I was like, wait a minute, I know her. What is she doing here?
I'm like, when is the best moment to slip in a something in front of Vanessa moment?
I just watched her a few weeks ago in a show that a lot of people seem to be liking that I couldn't get past the first 5 episodes of.
Oh, what's that?
Daredevil Born Again?
Oh, duh. No, the way you said it, I was like, oh, it must be like another show.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just saying,
okay.
I just saw her playing that character.
That is true.
Tony S says there shouldn't be much focus on Krypton in general. That's a fair take depending on what you want for your Superman. I go both ways with that. It really just depends on. I'm going to be wishy-washy about it. I've just seen that. I've seen it done great both directions, Austin. The totally.
I think with this movie, you probably want more Krypton,
Krypton is just the catalyst to get it started kind of idea, and the like last son of Krypton. You don't have other Kryptonians, and then going totally the other way where he's very much a child of both worlds. I've seen both of those done great, and I don't have a preference. I like it both ways. Now, I do love Krypton stuff, but in a great Superman story that's not about that, I don't need the Krypton stuff. If it's there, I want it to really come alive. And I also can live just on Krypton, because I just love that world. And I also think Krypton has the thing that Batman has, where you can do it a bazillion different ways. Even more than Superman. I think Krypton is malleable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with this new take, I want there to be less focus on Krypton. And I think there will be, just by what we're getting. I think with this movie, like with what it's trying to do, though, I feel like you kind of need more Krypton. So really, it just depends on the take.
It depends on the take, yeah. So you're with me on this.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because Superman is your Kryptonian MacGuffin in this. Like, you made him the Codex. You need Krypton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I would say, like, for my preferred take, I would say I'm fine with, like, less Krypton, but I'm not, like, against doing more on Krypton.
I think Gunn will have a real good balance with it.
It's hard to say because we haven't really seen much, but
we're doing Fortress stuff, and we got
future.
Fortress robots, and that tells me you'll get enough about Krypton. You know what I mean? Like, there's clearly Krypton
when I think we'll
stuff.
And I think we'll get more of that in Supergirl.
Oh, sure. We just found out today that they changed the name of that to just Supergirl.
Yeah, which has been rumored for a while, so it's cool that we got actual confirmation. Yeah, when they did that, like, first look at the set, there was, like, I think, like, a chair with the logo where we see it. It's like the Corn Sweat one, but blue, and it just says Supergirl over it, so people were like, oh, are they changing the title? Now, obviously, we have confirmation.
I do like, with this, the choice of getting completely away from crystals and trying something totally different. You are from the outset with the DCEU, and it's a massive double-edged sword, saying it's gonna be a version of this world and these characters you've never seen before, and we don't have to, like, there aren't a lot of rules. The power set's the same. It's still Krypton. It's going to explode. The major stuff is there. But, like, Clark and Lois can... Like, Lois can know who Superman is from the start. I mean, like, we're breaking those kinds of rules. And I was really intrigued by that, by all that stuff when this movie came out, because I was like, it doesn't... In one way, it doesn't feel definitive, and in another way, it feels real fresh. Because it's throwing, you don't know what it's gonna do. It can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was open to it. And then the further it went along, the more I found myself going, okay, it's not the definitive versions. Like more and more, it's feeling like this, like, weird Elseworlds thing. And if only I liked the stories and appreciated the characters better, I would have been more okay with that. But I think that's where it started to get really frustrating. It's honestly, I have a lot of the same problems with the DCU at large that I do with New Track. The biggest thing being, they break continuity all the time, and if only I thought the writing was good, I wouldn't mind it as much. But then that ends up being like icing on the crap cake. I almost said crap sundae. I'm gonna mix my metaphors and say icing on a sundae. Okay, Krypton lasts 5 minutes longer than I always say it does. I always say the first 15 minutes is Krypton. It's 20. It is 20.
Oh, okay. There, you got a little bit more of it.
So Dawson is now going to pretend like I got 5 extra minutes of Krypton, even though it's the same movie? Like, it's the same amount of Krypton. But I was like, no, you got 5 more minutes!
So the first person to be saved in this movie is Superman.
Say it again.
I just said the first person to be saved in this movie is Superman. That cage is about to fall on.
That's hilarious.
Actually, that's kind of amusing.
Look, he would have survived it. He would have been fine. He's Superman. Also,
maybe it was made out of kryptonite. You don't know.
Oh, he's Jesus. We know that because he's a fisherman, and he's like Jesus.
Well, Jesus famously died by being caught in a cage. So a cage fell on Jesus. That's how he died. Of course.
Jesus famously died in a fight with a giant, ugly monster guy.
Oh, okay.
When a woman tried to give him the Krypton or hit the monster with a spear. You don't know your Bible is really the issue.
I don't really know the Bible very well. You're correct.
Okay, let me read some super chats, and we'll start. Sorry, we're already 20 minutes into this. We haven't read anything. Captain. Oh, we already did Captain Coon. Thanks, Captain Coon. Appreciate you, buddy. God, I'm going on autopilot. Just doing analysis crap. I gotta remember how Mania works.
I know this isn't the rewind. You just talk about Cavill's hulking muscles.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna. Hey, do you think there's a helicopter in this scene as an homage to the original Richard Donner Superman?
Yes.
Okay. Chewbacca's Lover, $5 super chat. People have said that Zack Snyder is more naturally a Michael Bay style director who very badly wants to be an artsy director like Nolan or Ridley Scott. I think he's.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've always said.
I think he's Michael Bay-esque in how grand, like in scope, he tries to make his movies and how, like CG infused they are, and how music video-esque they are. Although Snyder, I think, is even more music video-y. He's also not as quick cut, which is part of why I like his stuff. And I think he's flashier and more stylish than Michael Bay. Personally, like if I had to put them up against each other, I think one of them is a better visual storyteller and the other one is more aesthetically pleasing to my eye. I prefer to look at Snyder's stuff, but I think Bay is the superior director, if that makes any sense at all. Like, I would rather Snyder be a director of photography, I guess, than an actual director. If only he backed the damn camera off.
And if only we haven't seen him be a director of photography.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, I wish he'd stuck with that job. What do you think a Bay movie with Snyder as his director of photography would have been like?
It would be a worse-looking Bay movie, judging by the two films that Snyder has been the director of photography of.
Remind me what those are.
His last two was with Rebel Moon and what is the zombie one?
I thought he worked as a DP. I thought he did that job before he was a director. Am I wrong about that?
Oh, I'm not sure about before that. I just know he's done it for all of his Netflix movies.
Okay.
And this is, of course, the best scene of the movie.
I can never tell when Austin's joking.
I'm not joking.
Oh, he's not joking. Okay.
No, I do think the scene is genuinely really good. And I like Diane Lane as Ma Kent like 8 billion times more than I like Kevin Costner as Pa Kent.
Is it okay with you if I disagree with you on that?
I mean, that's fair. I don't like Kevin Costner as Pa Kent, like, at all, but that's fair.
So, this is one of those situations where I think the casting is perfect, and then he just doesn't have the material to work with. That's just my feeling on it. And if I saw Diane Lane...
I think you're definitely correct.
If I saw Diane Lane first in BVS instead of this, I'd say the same thing about her. But the material she gets in this is a little bit better than what Costner gets. And so you get to see the sparks of what her great Martha Kent might have been. And Kevin Costner has a good moment or two, but some of the silliest stuff in the movie is with him because we have to watch him tell his son not to save him under an overpass in a tornado. Like, he gets so thrown under the bus. Like, he looks like a moron. I don't understand him in the same way I don't understand Superman. So at least the apple's not falling far from the tree, right? Like,
I just think Costner's really wooden. Like, on top of the bad material that I think he's given, I just think he's really wooden in this.
And I don't think he would be if he was
he could have
a
been
director that he gelled with better. Now, I'm not on set. I can't tell you for sure if I'm right about this, but there is something about his performance that tells me he's not getting what Snyder is laying down. That's the sense I've always gotten.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also a Costner fan. You know me. I'm a gigantic Field of Dreams fan. And because of that movie over anything else, he's just perfect casting. Like nobody oozes Midwest like Kevin Costner. It's just right. Like he's gonna be the farmer with the superpowered son. Like of course.
Mm-hmm. I am glad though we didn't stunt cast Mon Pa Kent this time around though.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Now, you could argue that besides Superman himself, this movie is pretty star-studded. So, like, I don't know that it's stunt casting so much as they went for big names with this movie. Am I wrong about that? I mean, I guess Michael Shannon's not that big of a name. But, like, you've got Fishburne, you've got Crow, you've got... Amy Adams isn't a big name yet. Not a huge name anyway.
Amy Adams is pretty big by this point, I would say. No, I mean, I guess that's fair.
Killer Moth Returns, $5 super chat. That's a kick-ass name. Zod / Jor-El being anti-characters due to their biology is an interesting choice. By the end of the movie, Zod has more character stuff going on than Clark. I agree with that. And I think one of the reasons I latch onto the Kryptonian stuff so much with this is, like I said earlier, I understand it in a way that I don't feel like I'm totally getting some of the human stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan's worldview is just a little perplexing to me. I've talked about this all before, of course, but just that his whole thing of I'm waiting for some big moment to happen with my son. What is that? Like what is the time that you're going to be okay with him revealing himself and using his superpowers and taking the risk of somebody finding out? Like when does that day come? It's too ethereal.
Well, he saw a Final Destination vision that Zod was going to come and destroy the planet. So he was like, it has to be that exact moment.
Obsidian Library Archives, what do you think of the idea of Cavill playing DCEU Jor-El? I want any actor that was in the DCEU that's going to get recast as somebody else to be completely removed from whatever their previous project was. So when you've got the guy playing Aquaman doing Lobo, I want that with everything.
Yeah, it's like this. But everywhere, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I do. Do you remember that conversation we had the other day about how I only speak in superhero movie quotes? It's just true.
Yeah, we both just speak TV, but like different sections of TV. Exactly. Yeah, and there's been rumors about like who's playing Jor-El, and I don't know. Cavill, I think, would just be a mistake. I agree with that. It would be too distracting.
Well, and it also feels like it would be kind of a weird misfire for the fans of this stuff, where it's like you throw them this bone that would maybe read even a little condescending, where it's like, it's not going to be Superman, it's going to be Superman's dad. Like, you don't want that kind of stunt casting.
Well,
I would
get that too.
I would forget the Snyder Bros with all this in general. You know what I mean? Like, I would just go, we're not casting him to appease. It would look like you're trying to appease somebody. You don't cast him to appease people. You cast him because he's good and he's right for something. And you don't want to throw him under the bus if you'd like to still be there because he's good. But we want to go a different direction, so he's not going to be Superman this time. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, and there's people that really want Cavill to be Ultraman in Superman, and I don't think that'll be what that is. But that would be the same kind of like, oh, you don't get to be Superman anymore, but you can be like an evil Superman clone.
Well, you don't think there's any chance he's in it, do you?
No, I don't think there is.
Like at all.
No. I also think with Jor-El, and I could be wrong, but when we had that IMAX preview, there's a point where when they're bringing Superman in to the fortress, if you listen really closely, you can hear like a male voice speaking in an alien language, and I'm like, I feel like that could be their Jor-El, but we'll see.
Captain Coon, $10 super chat. Thanks, man. Snyder's DC movies make more sense and become more annoying, okay, when you realize that a shallow adaptation of John Booman's Excalibur with DC characters as 5 movies because Snyder loves that movie a lot. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Borman. John Borman.
Actually, I think I've heard people mention that before, but I don't really know much about that. That sounds familiar, though.
Tyler Zayas, these movies have a lot of problems. For the most part, casting isn't one of them. Is there anybody in the DCEU that you immediately go... I mean, you're probably going to say Aquaman, right? That you immediately go, like, the casting was the problem in the first place, and then every other thing that goes wrong is... it's whatever, because that was the big mistake.
Well, I had 2 immediate, like, jump outs.
Gal Gadot.
And Gal Gadot is one of them. Aquaman was not. It was Gal Gadot and The Flash.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
a second...
Of course.
And then a second after it was Leto.
Leto's the... Yeah. So, no, casting is a problem with some of these, certainly.
But it's only a couple. Like, there are people that I think are genuinely great casting.
Cyborg's
like,
great.
I think Amy Adams is a wonderful casting choice for Lois Lane, but she and Cavill don't have chemistry, so like it doesn't really work.
No, I think she should have been the best Lois Lane up to this point. And I said in my old scripted rewind, she probably would be if I had more to work with her.
Mm.
Okay, let's...
Ryder brings up Amber Heard, yeah.
Let's...
But outside of
Amber Heard. That's true. Although... Like, I didn't have a problem with her in Aquaman until I started, like, actually finding out about that actress, and then I couldn't not see it. Like, unfortunately, I started listening to her speak, and then I couldn't unsee it. I've never had that Rachel Dawes thing with Batman Begins, where like, people hate that actress. I've never gotten to that with that, but I did with Amber Heard. I finally understood the anger, the vitriol. The crying.
The crying.
The spilled milk. Okay, Austin, let's go back and forth and read some people's comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. Did I? You go first, just because you have a lot more than I do.
Oh, do I? Okay.
Yeah, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, Daniel Davis, favorite scene, Clark learning to become Superman. That's where I felt the film was most on point. We'll try to gong it when we get there. And then, main thing he would change, how about actual personal moments where Superman feels like Superman, or characters have normal conversations? The script is so formless, we just go from one scene to the next. I guess that's the Snyder magic. How much do you agree with that?
Yeah, I remember. Like, it's hard to say because it's been a little bit, but I remember kind of feeling like that, and I do have that to an extent here. My big thing with this that I remember is just feeling like this is a movie you can't spoil. Like, there's kind of nothing to it, and it does feel like it barely has a second act.
I mean, there's stuff you can spoil. You can spoil...
You can only spoil the ending. That is literally it. That's why
fair.
everyone only talks about the neck snap. That's it.
So, when I will fight you for a second, because we got a couple of different responses to most surprising moment. And, of course, the big one for a lot of people was the neck snap. But the other one was the thing I said earlier, where in the theater, I was shocked that we had this totally different status quo at the very start with your Superman and your Lois, where she's going to know his identity from the very beginning. That's a thing you could spoil. Absolutely. You walk out of the theater and, your Lois already knows Clark is Superman. Come on, we didn't let that even stick in Superman 2. He had to kiss her at the end so that she wouldn't know it moving forward. You had 4 movies. She never gets to continue knowing that. That's a thing you can spoil.
I mean, we also get it so early, but fair enough. That is one other thing I guess you can spoil in this 2.5-hour movie.
Now I'll give you. I can't think of a lot more, but there's that. And then he also says thing that surprises him. I was quite positive about it when I first saw it, but over the years, its effects have waned on me. I guess that's the thing he's most surprised about. I guess.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I will say,
I actually have 6, not 5.
I was surprised
Sorry,
by
go
that.
ahead.
I was going to say I thought you had more than that. I was surprised by that myself because I was so on a high with this when it first came out, and I really bought it hook, line, and sinker, and it hurt my feelings. Like watching it again and having a different experience with it and seeing what I felt were seam showing and holes, and to the point where I didn't want to watch it again. Because I had kind of a Batman Begins experience with this when I first saw it, which is apropos because it's trying so hard to be that movie in a lot of ways. Going all the way down to, you got the same scriptwriter and you've got the same composer, and you're taking Superman out of the title and calling it a moniker like you did Dark Knight. You're trying to look more like real life and grounded. There's so many cues it takes from those movies, and I also think that it's doing that to try to set itself apart from the MCU while it's trying to compete with that, which is in its way smart if it pulled it off. But I don't think that's the way you pull it off. I think you go with totally new blood.
No, for sure. What do you think of this Fortress of Solitude?
I think it's a cool idea. And then Power Rangers, of course, has to rip it off and make the command center also a spaceship. Frickin' Power Rangers. But it was cool here.
Yeah, I've never really liked the Geiger spaceship, Fortress of Solitude, but I mean, as a different take, I guess that's interesting.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm just gonna be a broken record and say, if I look at this as an alternate reality thing, and maybe in its way that's maybe the way to do it, where you go, look, Christopher Reeve is definitive. Like, everything about, with the exception of not doing enough comic book stuff in that franchise, everything about the way the character was handled in those first couple movies is just correct. Like, why try to do that better than that? And that is some of the pushback and worry that people are having about Gunn Superman. But Gunn trying to do something a little bit maybe more in line, we'll see what the movie is like, with that take, but then also bring the comic book stuff to it, is, I think, what makes it fresh again, and what you do with it after this has been attempted. I don't think you can do what Gunn's doing right now without this. I think you need this in the middle. Good or bad, I think you need something like this in between. And that's why that's the right take now.
Kind of like Spider-Man, where you have Amazing, Holland, and Maguire.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't like the whole we have to darken it up and make Superman cool, like I've always complained that Snyder said about this. But reinventing stuff like it's not a fortress, it's the ship in the Arctic and all of that, I don't think any of the trappings of it is the bad way to go. And if aesthetically you don't care for this, like, I get that. It's not what I want for definitive Superman, but I enjoyed it as a off the beaten path, different way to go. Again, two brands,
when it's
right?
a better fortress than the BVS fortress.
Oh yeah.
There's the Supergirl setup.
Yeah, we finally paid that off, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see that next week.
That's true.
There's a plug for Nikon, or Nikon. Is it Nikon? Nikon.
Is that going to be the canon Crypto Freaks count all the product placement in Man of Steel?
Now, I'm going to go on record and say this is a movie I don't want any product placement whatsoever. None. Take it all out. Because as, like, quote-unquote grounded as it's trying to be, it also feels like it shouldn't be in the world we live in. Exactly, right? In that Batman Begins kind of way. Like, Begins of Dark Knight, those don't have product placement. Like, they're in the year that you're in, but they feel removed enough. And that's another way that you set it apart from MCU, where MCU feels enough like the world that you live in that product placement makes sense. I don't want any of it in this.
Mm-hmm. Or at least tone it down a little bit.
Tone it down. Well, there was almost more. There's an deleted scene where there's like a big ass like Pepsi truck or Coke truck or something in front of the Kent farm. I can't remember what it is now. There was almost more.
It's just that part in Transformers 4 where they crash into the Bud Light truck and then Mark Wahlberg gets out and just starts chugging a Bud Light.
Can you read some patron comments?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so from Abik Stark, so his favorite scene or moment is Superman's first flight. The main. Oh, okay, cool. So his the thing that he would change is he would cut the Krypton opening and focus on Clark figuring out who he is and how he can help people, bring more optimism to his character. But it would have been cool. It would have been cool, maybe though, if you were to cut the opening of Krypton and you did the John Byrne Man of Steel thing, where he doesn't even know he's an alien,
Yeah.
right from the get go.
Well, and
You maybe could have done
this
something
took
like
a
that.
couple of cues from Earth One, which had just come out a little while before this, and Earth One
This
did
movie's
that.
very Earth One.
Earth One did that too, and that would be another Earth One thing to do with it. Am I remembering that right? Because it's been a while, but I don't think Clark knows he's Kryptonian right away in that either.
I can't remember offhand. It's been a while. Earth One takes a lot from Byrne though, so that would make sense. And then the thing you was most
cool casting, but like with so much with this, and BVS, I just wish he got something to do. But I always like seeing Fishburne, so.
Although I wish that your prediction did not come true and that he wasn't just a sign that said, "I'll be back in 5 minutes" on a desk. We need less Perry White, as you said.
I forgot I said that. He's gonna be replaced with a sign on his desk that says "back in 5 minutes."
Yeah, exactly. And then in BVS, it's back in 10 minutes. And it just keeps going more and more. And then Avik Stark also says, I was surprised at the neck snap at the end. Narratively, it made sense to me. There was no way for them to contain Zod following the Phantom Drive or whatever it was called. So I don't have a problem with it. My issue is the execution, pun intended.
That's great. That's great plan. Jacob is a great writer. He's been in my writer's workshop for years, and I expect great writing like that from Jacob. So I have always said this. The problem is not that Superman kills someone. It's that A, it's such a contrived scene, and I don't buy that was his only option, or that he wouldn't try something else first. And B, we need talking about it. Like we have to have a discussion about it if he's going to do that.
You can tell that they came up with that scene last minute.
Oh, and Goyer's talked about it. Like, he pushed for that real hard. Nolan said, I don't want that. He ended up getting it in anyway. And they didn't rewrite the movie to match it.
Mm-hmm.
No, you make it about how being Superman is hard and he has to make the tough calls like that.
For sure.
I don't agree that what makes Superman altruistic is that he will never do a thing like that, because that just suggests the only way you can make sure he never does is to contrive scenes where he never has to. Or be realistic enough to make him look terrible for not doing it in cases where he needs to protect the innocent, right? Like, I just don't believe that Superman would never kill under any circumstances. Now, that is a take that a lot of comic writers have had with him, certainly. But in a really weird way, I think that's actually kind of more Batman than Superman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in terms of being willing to kill, it goes, or not killing, I guess, in the way I'm about to say it, but it's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Which is ironic because Superman looks at Batman as so much more cynical than he is. But it's like, and I know you look at this as the modern way to write Batman, and you don't like this as much. But very often we take Batman and we say he doesn't kill partly because he's afraid of who he'd be if he did that. Superman would only do it in a situation where he had no other choice, and it wouldn't necessarily change him. That's the difference.
Nicholas Bodo also asks if Absolute Superman is a good example of making a dark Superman story, but Superman's not dark. I would say so from what I've read so far. I've read more than Cap has.
I'm only 3 issues in, but so far I think you're right about that. Thanks for reminding me. I gotta get back to that. But
well, that's a version that like changes everything. It like really flips the script, and I think it works as a Elseworld thing.
Senior Six, $2 super chat. With TV flashes, why was the film flash terrible? Well, I mean, the TV flash was not always the best either. I don't know what TV flash.
Yeah, the TV flash is also pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. I like some things in that first season, but it all goes downhill from there, and it goes downhill pretty hard at the end of the first season, in my mind. But anyway, and then the '90s show is just hilarious. But so I don't know what that has to do with the Flash film being terrible, but we'll talk about that when we watch it. It's just a mess. Like, I don't know if I can answer that question in 1 sentence or less, Austin. 2 sentences or less, Austin.
You gotta answer it in 30 seconds or less.
Actually, Austin could answer it in 30 seconds. Like, you just say Ezra Miller and you're done. Actually, I think the right answer to that question, why is that movie
it's 2 Ezra Millers.
Baffling writing and 2 Ezra Millers. That's the answer.
Well, also the fact that if I were to say to you, hey, there's a Flash movie where Barry Allen is working with an elderly hero and a new fresh hero, your mind goes, oh, cool. They made a Flash movie where Barry Allen, Jay Garrick, and Wally West are like teaming up.
And that's not what it was. Bafflingly, you end up with annoying Barry Allen, slightly more annoying Barry Allen, and Michael Keaton Batman, who I can't even say 89 Batman because they're not the same character. Anyway, we'll get
it just makes me wish that Michael Keaton dropped both Flashes down an elevator shaft.
Would it shock you if I were to tell you, though, I'm actually looking forward to that one?
A little bit.
I am, because I've only seen it once. Or I guess the couple times in the theater. And I'm just curious to see how it watches again. Like, I don't remember a lot of what happens, a lot of, like, action and stuff in it. And it'll just be amusing to look at it and talk over it.
So that is one John and I started to watch with our buddy Doolittle. We were doing it as a watch party one night, and like halfway through, it was right when Michael Keaton was introduced. Doolittle passed out, and he was the one that wanted to watch it. And John and I went, "Well, he's asleep. Let's watch something else." So I've seen it 1.5 times.
I really like the pseudoscience here about how Superman's powers work. It's cool they thought some of that through.
Yeah, for sure.
It talks about the radiation in the cells. And okay, here's Superman's first flight. This is what a lot of people called their favorite.
And it's cool that he leaps first.
Yeah, that is really cool. It would have been even neater if he did leaping in a sequel bound until the 3rd act, and he doesn't fly till then. That would have been pretty kick-ass.
That would be cool, but it's cool we at least get a reference to
Okay,
it.
I got gong this. Here we go. 3 gongs, because people love the scene. And then he destroys a mountain.
You're giving this 3 big booms.
He can not quite leap a tall mountain in a single bound yet. He's working on it though. He's working on it. He'll get there.
One day.
I don't hate this costume. I actually like it a lot better than the Superman Returns suit. And it also looks even better to me without all the color washed out of the movie. And that is a thing with this that I know people are kind of polarized on. Because you could say there's thematic reasons for it to be so... not monotone. What's the word I'm looking for? Uh, but just to be so like limited in color. Uh,
Mhm.
but when you look at the suit in with more color, with brighter color, it doesn't feel like it was actually made for this color correction. It's almost like the color correction was an afterthought.
Mhm. Yeah, the only thing, like, I wish
Sorry,
the suit
muted.
had the
Muted is the
trunks.
word I was looking for.
Yeah, muted. Yeah, I wish the suit had the trunks because I have the same thing I do with the New 52 suit. That it's too blue. But the Superman Returns suit is like easily the looking Superman suit in live action. So it is 100% a step up from that.
But are you saying that's not hard? Is that your point?
No, like I said, my biggest issue is I just think it's too blue, like the New 52 suit. Outside of that, I think the suit's fine.
And for this version, I don't even mind losing the trunks because again, it doesn't feel like it's definitive and has to be. I think the shot of him out at the Earth is awesome. Looks really good.
Yeah, and it's cool we got like that sort of like Donner shot. Like that's like the end of the original movie, and I guess
Yes.
it's in all four.
Yeah, it's cool to have
We got like a little homage to
little
that.
nods like that don't feel too
Yeah.
tongue in cheek or like they're making a huge deal out of it. Like you recognize it and you move on. That's cool. I like how
Yeah.
big the cape is.
Oh sure.
Like it feels massive. I mean, like that feels like if McFarlane was drawing the Superman cape. Like it's just big and flowy and it makes
We
me
get
happy.
lots of nice like wind blowing it and stuff. That's
Yeah.
what you want.
The like non-belt kind of like line business at the waist is a little weird. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why there's so much like I don't know rippling around the
Because
waist.
you need
but-
something to separate it. So
Separate
like
it,
we
yeah.
have to put something there.
And I have the same thing with this symbol that I do with Batman '89, where like people think the '89 symbol is weird, where it's got like the feet, and then you've got the more simple like regular symbol. I wish this movie had a more simple Superman logo to sell the movie, and then just went hog wild in the suit. Because I like this on the costume, actually. Especially looking at the behind the scenes and learning about the creation of the Kryptonian language, like written language, and how that's
the
all thought
different
through.
symbols in it.
Yeah, like it looks more alien, and it looks less like it's trying to not look like an S. Like I can kind of see how it comes to the S with it. So I really like that the costume. I don't know that I would have sold the movie with it. Like I might have made that a more normal looking Superman symbol for selling the film.
I feel like that's weirder. Like I feel like if you're gonna sell it on something, it should be the actual Superman
Oh, it's fine.
symbol. of
There's
the
not one
movie.
person on the planet that's going to agree with me on this, but I've always loved that
Yeah.
choice with '89. I like the two symbols, and no one else does. Everybody thinks I'm crazy. It's fine.
No, you are crazy, but that's okay. Sometimes we all go a little mad.
I'm going to go on record to say it is less believable here that Henry Cavill is supposed to be the age he is in this truck than Tom Welling being a high schooler ever was.
I think I'm gonna say Tobey Maguire, but yeah, it's all in that family.
Because we always make fun of that in Count of Crypto Freaks. That
They
Tom
should have given Cavill a baseball cap, and then he would have been younger.
Oh yeah, yep. That's natural de-aging. It doesn't cost you anything.
Exactly. Make
Okay.
him wear it backwards.
Everybody knows what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna give it crap again. I can't help. I wrote a whole dissertation on why you don't handle this situation this way. But oh my God, you're in Kansas. If this was any other state in the country, I don't think I would have even noticed it as much. It's the fact that they're in tornado country. When you're in elementary school, you just go through so many tornado drills. You know all of this. And he's a farmer who lives in Kansas, and he's going to go under the overpass. It's hilarious.
Can I throw out the real villain of this scene, though, that no one ever talks about?
The dog?
No, that Ma Kent looks at the dog gets out of the car and closes the door without letting the dog out. And then they start running. Ma Kent is the woman that killed Pa Kent.
And even still, and I know I'm a broken record, I've said this before, but tell me in the comments, guys, do you agree with me when I say Jonathan is overthinking this hard? He's like, I can't let it... That magic moment hasn't arrived yet where my son can fulfill his destiny with his superpowers. And so I have to make sure that no one sees him do what he can do here. You're in a goddamn tornado. Like, there's so much commotion. If anybody sees it, no one's going to believe them. Nobody's going to get good footage of it if they take any footage of it. Your like, camera phone technology isn't even the best in this year that this would be happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you have camera phones yet. I don't know what year exactly we're supposed to be in here.
20XX.
Because this would have come out in 13. We know he's 33, whatever age Jesus was, because Jesus allegory. I think it's 33.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was a thing. Okay.
That's in
so
that
probably
list.
Like maybe even,
he's a fisherman and he's exactly Jesus' age. Yeah, so they're not walking around with phones in their cameras. Or sorry, cameras in their phones, if they have phones at all. He's overthinking it. And that scene is as contrived or more so than the next snap.
No, I also just think Costner looks like badly green screened into that scene too.
Oh, Tyler says the gravestone says 1997. I'm telling you, there's no way anybody could.
Pa Kent died the year I was born.
There's no way anybody could out him. It couldn't happen. And they wouldn't probably believe they saw what they saw anyway, in the same way Lana's not sure if she believes it when she sees Superman use his powers in a tornado at the end of Smallville Season 1. Where she is as dumb as Jonathan can't hear because she gets back in the vehicle when tornadoes are coming instead of the ditch that's right next to her. But somehow this Jonathan seems even dumber than her to me just because he's a freaking farmer. He would know.
See, none of this would matter if Ma Kent had just left the door open.
That's true. That's a wrinkle I'd never thought of. That's true. But yeah, just let him super speed and save his dad. And also, Clark is, and I get that, like, he's in high school or just out of high school, whatever. Clark is also kind of unsympathetic in that scene for not saving his dad, regardless of what his dad wants.
Yeah,
right? Like,
going against as well.
He should have just done it. Yeah, for all the reasons I'm saying. He wouldn't he just look around and go, "There's a lot of freaking wind here. Like, no one's gonna see me do this."
Yeah, I guess it also depends, like, how well he can use his powers too. Like,
but he doesn't even try.
Yet, but... No, I know. I agree.
The
I'm just,
implication
like,
to the audience is they make eye contact. Jonathan shakes his head, saying, "You can't save me because I'm trying to save you." And Clark says, "Okay, I guess I'll let my father die." And it comes off like it's just for shock value. In the same way the next snap comes off, and neither of them had to be shock value. You could have made me buy either of them. Both of them. I'm yelling now.
Well, well, I always thought he could have run out and not used his powers and, like, been able to get there and grab him in that time too. Like, there's a lot of time that happens in that moment.
Well, and I mean, they do slow it down, but Senior Sticks, I think Pa Kent just wanted to die.
I agree. He's like, my wife is evil. She was fully willing to let the dog die.
Well, that's maybe a place where they're trying so hard to deviate from the iconic movie, but still do the same thing that did, where you kill the father and Clark couldn't save him, and it's just the filmmakers overthinking it. Where it's like, well, we don't want to do the heart attack. What's another way we could do it? but the heart attack is a thing that he literally can't save him from. And I'm not saying it had to be exactly the same thing.
They could have done something more in line with like All-Star, where like he's just busy doing something else.
Yeah, you just can't be in... Well, the best way to do it, and I can't remember what All-Star does, but the best way to do it is he's saving someone else. Right? And then he wasn't there to...
That's what All-Star does.
Is that what it does? And he wasn't there to save his father because he was busy being altruistic and helping someone else, and then he feels guilty because he's not all-powerful, and he feels like he prioritized somebody else even though he didn't do that on purpose. That's how a kid would feel about that.
Yeah, like they mix it with the heart attack in All-Star, but like he's fighting a villain in Smallville, and then like Pa Kent drops while he's out doing that.
Chewbacca's Lover, $10 super chat. Chuck Dixon says Superman would probably kill under the right circumstances, but that you're missing the point of the character if you go there. That's not the type of stories you should be telling.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like I'm so case by case with stuff, Austin, and I'm so you can make anything work. I would need to see it attempted and see if I bought into it. And then the issue, once again, I'm such a broken record with this is not definitive Superman. This is an alternate modern direction. This is like Ultimate to Spider-Man or something. I can maybe be okay with it here. I wouldn't want Christopher Reeve's Superman to be put in that situation. But if you're gonna do it here, yeah, open with it. Tell us exactly what kind of story you're telling, and how serious and deconstructionist you're going. Because I don't want to open myself up to that criticism because I don't like it. I don't buy into it. That whole, was it Snyder's wife that said it? One of them, the whole like. Fans don't want to see their heroes deconstructed thing. I'm like, I mean,
Snyder himself.
I mean, is it him that said it? I mean, if it's good, if it works, there's a little truth to that in that I don't want that to be all we ever do. This was in a period where it was new enough territory, at least on the big screen, that I was open to it. I'm sick of it now, but it's been 12 years. If you said it now, yes, I agree with you. I am sick of my heroes being deconstructed. But that wasn't my problem with his movies. There were lots of other things I could go to before I went to don't deconstruct things.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's ways you can deconstruct Superman and also have your cake at the same time.
I also draw the line at Doomsday. Like, yeah, he can kill Doomsday. It's like a big monster thing. There's a Doomsday story where Superman refuses to kill Doomsday when he comes back, and I'm like, that's ridiculous.
But I mean, I feel like all these characters have that. Like, I have a no-kill rule until it's like a monster or alien or something, and then that goes out the window. Then you have Batman like flying around snapping necks.
Yeah, but it does depend on what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Like
that's what I mean. Like Doomsday is just kind of like a
matters.
mindless.
Say again.
Oh no, I was just saying like Doomsday's like a mindless monster. So I feel like most of the time with stuff like that, these characters are more willing to kill them.
Super Billy, I hate when they do a poor shallow job deconstructing heroes. Yeah, exactly. That's when I don't like. And again, I am a little bit tired of that. But at this point, Senior Sticks Cheeto Super Chat. I missed this one. Is it a conflict of interest that Lois knows from the start? I don't know what that means in this context. Why would that be a con?
Because she's writing about Superman, I guess, but
what?
She also is like connected with him because they have like romantic interest before that.
Yes,
but I mean
that becomes an issue in every Superman story because it's not like her job changes. Like, it's not like she goes out and tells everyone who he is. Like,
you have that with Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah, you have that already. Like, Clark is writing about Superman. Yeah. No, it is a conflict of interest, but it's it's the same kind of moral loophole with Superman himself, where it's like, yes, he's for truth and justice, and yet he has to lie every day in order to do his job, and that ends up being a really interesting kind of contradiction. Mm-hmm. And what else would he do? And it feels like a benign lie, but we've deconstructed that a lot too. Like, is it actually a benign lie?
Mm-hmm. I will say I don't like that Lois knows that Superman, or who Superman is, before Clark even exists.
I just think it's a fun alternate reality kind of idea.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like you lose a lot of their dynamic, and on top of that,
you do.
like
but
we don't
if
even
you
have
liked this chemistry. If it worked, then we could build a whole new dynamic. I'm just saying it could have worked. I think, but it doesn't. But it could have. But it doesn't. But it could have.
Maybe, yeah. I don't even like that with the Gunn movie. I do wish that we at least had a movie where she didn't know, but it's whatever.
So I have a very, like, Mary Jane marriage thing when it comes to them, where, like, my Superman and Lois are married, and I want to jump to that in the same way that I want to jump to, like, the like Sue Storm and Mr. Fantastic being married. Like, I want to jump to that stuff. Especially with Superman, just because I've done enough of the stories where he's hiding it from her and how he's going to keep it from her and how she's going to react. But, like, part of my problem is I grew up with Lois and Clark, and I got so sick of it with that show that, like, I've lived with that enough. I don't ever need it again. Like.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think that is an important part to the character.
It is, but we're in a, like, lived in DC universe that says we've already done that. We've already gotten past that. You think that sign would say Sullivan's if the Allison Mack thing had happened already? Because I don't.
Oh, is that a connection to Smallville?
Yeah. Her character's Chloe Sullivan, and yeah, that's a.
Oh, okay.
There's actually quite a few Smallville references in this, and a couple of actors that were on that show that have different parts in this.
Oh, okay. I guess probably not then.
It would not, Austin.
It would not.
Tyler, the whole DCEU could be boiled down to it could have worked. Well, that is true. That is true. Everybody get ready for me to waste your time. I must say that a lot. Sorry, we got to read some more of these comments. And I guess you better throw one at me, Austin. Oh, wait, no, I found it. Hold on. I've forgotten how everything works. I have it now. Joe Turner. Favorite scene is probably the battle in Smallville. Shallow, I know. Yeah, that's definitely not mine. Main thing you would change about the movie, this film has like 3 climaxes. Is it this scene, Austin? Is this your favorite? Get it? He's Jesus.
Jesus? Yeah, I like that. I like it because I couldn't figure that
out. He needs Zack Snyder to hold his hand.
But it's funny too, because I feel like Superman's more Moses than he is Superman.
Than he's Superman? Than he's Jesus?
My brain's all like.
I think he
cold fog.
He is Superman. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, Clark Kent is more Moses than he is Superman. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
He is Jesus when you really want to get to Death of Superman eventually. That's the thing, is that Snyder's thinking that from the start. Because he's got the big stories in the back of his brain. So he's going, I really want to do something with Dark Knight Returns. I really want to do something with Death of Superman. The big popular things that everybody knows and that are the things that he knows. That's where he's headed. So, yeah, I don't think of Superman as a Jesus allegory until you do that story. And that story had some of that in it, because when he dies, you had a lot of kind of religious zealots that form cults around it, which was one of the really interesting things about that about that story, and why I'm gonna eventually. We started on it at one point, never got to it, but eventually I'm gonna have you read World Without Superman, or I guess I should say Funeral for a Friend, where a lot of that stuff is.
Hmm. Did I show you the Death of Superman variant they did for that Godzilla and Kong crossover?
Huh.
Where I think it's like Godzilla like going through Metropolis, like going back to the sea, and there's like a Godzilla footprint on the city with like the little Superman death camp in
Oh
his footprint.
no, I'm gonna have to buy that.
I saw that. I was like, that's really amusing. I can't believe I forgot to send you that.
Oh, I need that. I need that one. Joe Turner, what main thing would you change about the movie? The film has like 3 climaxes. 2 would already be excessive, but even that would have made it way more watchable. And then he says the thing that surprised him most was how fantastic Michael Shannon is as Zod. And I'm going to assume Austin does not agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not keen on Michael Shannon as Zod, but like, I also can't really argue with people that like him. It just doesn't play for me, but that's fine.
I mean, the problem for me is
I'm not
just
like anti Michael Shannon Zod. I just feel like he just kind of has a lack of presence for me. But that's, you know, if it works for you, it works for you. I do really like that scene where he's on the TV, contacting. Like that, I think works. But outside of that, I'm not really keen on the side. Okay, I can read my next one. So from Lord GB, his favorite thing is it's already been said, but Superman learning to fly. Also, the final scene. What will you do when you aren't saving the world? The thing he would change is absolutely nothing. The movie is perfect, and I will die by that sword. And the thing he was most shocked by is he was surprised on the first time I watched it how good it was, and have been even more surprised every time at how it gets better with every watch.
just
a
a
very positive review on that.
Polar opposite experience I've had with it.
This is
nobody is ever
random,
going
but
to explain to me. Like, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Nobody's ever going to be able to explain to me why that overpass scene is okay. Like, forget this neck snap thing. You'll never convince me of that.
Yeah.
Any part of it. There's not one thing in that scene that works.
One thing I will give it over the next one, because we're looking at Superman right now.
Yeah.
His hair is so much better in this one than it is in BVS.
That's true. I really like Cavill's performance and the writing okay in the previous scene where he's talking to the soldiers through the glass, where he is, and I wish this was how we played the character all the way through into BVS, where he's simultaneously showing them like how powerful and scary he could be if he wanted to, and then saying, but I'm not that guy. And I feel like he inches ever closer to I can't decide what I'm really standing for and if I really care about anybody but Lois, and like maybe he's not going to be a full-on despot, but like he leans so much more into the like no, I really am a god thing, and you lose me when you do that with Superman. And I feel like he's inching that way even like toward the end of the movie when he drops the satellite and all of that. Again, this is all stuff I've complained about before, but yeah. I feel like it's in the right direction in that last scene.
Well, I guess I'll say too. I've never really been convinced on Cavill, and I don't just mean as Superman. I just mean like as an actor in general.
Oh wow! Them just fighting words for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Austin.
No, I know. Like even in stuff like people really praise him in Mission Impossible Fallout, for example. He's fine, I guess.
I thought
I don't
he
know.
was good
I've
in
like
that.
yet to see the performance from him that I like really really like.
I thought he was good in that, but I do feel like it was a little overblown because people are frustrated that he lost this part and that he didn't get to do enough in this part.
Yeah, for sure.
And he might be a
His
spectacular
mustache
actor.
looks
I
great.
just don't feel like he's gotten that role yet, really.
Yeah, and it is kind of unfortunate in like geeky things. Like you have this and The Witcher now, where he also has a history of getting into like big IP stuff like this. It doesn't work out, and like people complain about it, and then he kind of comes out and goes, "Look, I always knew it was wrong." I'm one person saying it was wrong, like on the side, and then he leaves. It is kind of like a weird. I feel like there's something else that's happened with, but
Well,
it is kind of like a weird.
with the
trend.
exception of not doing a lot of TV, he's had a similar trajectory as Ralph, right? Where like Ralph also kept falling into like random IP things.
I don't know that I've seen him in anything other than like Superman Returns and like CW stuff.
Well, that's the thing is
So
that
I
they
don't
were
even
smaller
know.
projects, right? But he was in. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember names of things. What is that movie? I'm sorry, I can't think of it. It'll come to me. I can't think of it. That superhero movie or sort of pseudo superhero movie. Scott something. I can't think of it.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Pilgrim. Yes, he's in that. And
Oh, okay.
that's an IP thing, and then and of course he wound up in the DC shows as the Atom, but he did a like vampire movie, I think, that was based on a comic. Like he kept doing a bunch of comic things, like little comic things.
Hmm. Yeah, and I will say, like, I feel like Brandon Routh is only cast because Singer looks at him and goes, "Oh, he kind of looks like Reeve."
Yeah.
I do feel like, even though I can't see it, um, I do think Snyder picked Cavill because he's like, "Oh, he does represent like everything I'm going for."
Yeah. No, I think so
like,
too.
I can give him that. Like, not to just dogpile on Superman Returns, but that movie does suck.
With Shannon as Zod, for me, the problem is just that I've got like the perfect Zod to compare him to, and this is a different character, and this character is an interesting idea, but like if I have to rank things, I obviously like it would just be impossible to put him anywhere close to Stamp. He's doing a different thing, but I like their take on him. Like I think his performance is fine, but I'm not blown away by it or anything.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. I hope we never go back to Zod again.
I kind of agree with that, at least in movies.
Yeah, that's all I mean. Well, it's funny because Zod is such like a left field pick in Superman 2.
Yeah. Yeah, the movies are
but
the
now
only reason he's such a huge character. He would have been obscure
That's what I was gonna say,
and
yeah,
never mentioned again, maybe. I still appreciate the royal shirt. One big thing, being from Kansas, one big thing that I've always really appreciated about this movie over Smallville is Kansas feels like Kansas. And it's maybe even a little too rural, but you're talking little Midwestern town. Although, if Smallville were placed in Western Kansas, I would buy it more. Like he's in such a barren kind of area, and that town is so tiny. I kind of buy it more if it's in Western Kansas. If we're far enough away from, I'm more central. If we're far enough west, it works. But like you've got the Sears and the IHOP and like. Again, I'm complaining about product placement, so this is a contradiction with that. But if you have to do real world places and stuff, they did pick the things that that make it feel like it's actually in Kansas. So I don't know. I guess I am suddenly praising it for product placement. I don't like the product placement thing, but it at least feels like Kansas. And this is one of those shots that we just do because it looks cool. This is such a Snyder choice, right?
Well, this shot reminds me of Starlin Silver Surfer. There's an issue where he finds out that there's like something like wrong in his brain. There's like a thing in his brain, and he goes to Galactus and he's like, "What's up with that?" And Galactus is like, "Oh, well, I put a thing in your brain so that you would never feel guilty for all the people you've killed, like for me." And Silver Surfer's like, "Well, take that out," and he does, and it's just the shot of him being drowned in all the blood that he spilled, and it reminds me a lot of that shot. I think that's pretty cool. His suit also just straight up looks black in that suit. I don't know, or in that scene. I don't know if they specifically did that or if that's just corrected in post.
No, they did that.
Okay, that is just a black suit they made for that.
So I think they. I used to know this. I think maybe they didn't make a suit; they did just color correct it. But I was just gonna say it doesn't just look black. I mean, they did it on purpose, but yeah. And then yeah, in Snyder Cut they actually made a black suit. But, so I didn't know what point you were making. I thought you were just saying like it sort of looks black, but like just the lighting or something. But like they made it black. I just don't know if they did it in pose.
Yeah, no, I worded that weirdly. Sorry, no, it is just a black suit in that scene. But also, because we were looking at Zod's one, his symbol always reminded me of like a hammer and sickle. I don't know if that's intentional.
Oh, maybe it is.
But it's more the sickle, like it's less hammer, but it's always reminded me of that.
Also, this guy with a creepy claw thing over Superman just looks like he was born to play aliens. I've seen him in other stuff, and I think he's always an alien.
He was born with a face to play one of two roles, aliens and perverts, and here he's playing both.
Oh my god. I want to say I can't believe you said that, but I can. I can't believe you said that.
That's Mania. We're getting a little crazy.
Spock's Lover, this is one of those movies I thought was good when it first came out, like you and Eric did. Obviously, it doesn't hold up for many reasons that you will discuss. Oh, we've discussed it, my friend. We've discussed it. My question is this. Do you think it could have been salvaged in a sequel? Could you have just made it more like Superman without people questioning it? Yeah, I do, actually. I don't know about you, Austin, but yeah, I've had that thought. And I think even when I started to turn on this a little bit, I was like, but I mean, moving forward, it's not like it's unsalvageable. I think you could have made a pretty hard pivot with it and just been like, some time passed and his values are just more intact now. And you could go in a more kind of classic Superman direction, and it probably would still need to look a little bit more modern and quote-unquote dark without Superman having to be the thing that makes it dark. But yeah, I think you could have made kind of a hard left with it, and if it was good, people would have accepted it. Like Amazing Spider-Man attempted to do.
I was going to say, it's like Amazing Spider-Man 2 to the second Bay Turtles film. I don't know, it's hard to say. Because that is like the most comparable thing to that. I do feel like
I love
Superman
this
Returns
business.
being... Oh yeah,
that's great.
I like the scene. I like the Russell Crowe doing that.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a problem when your Jor-El and your Lois have more chemistry than your Lois and your Clark, because they do.
When they 100% do.
They're fun together.
Yeah.
What happened?
I would be perfectly fine if Russell Crowe is just the hero now.
Why? Yeah. Why can't Jor-El just take the movie over? You know what? Maybe that's why I liked this so much more the first time out, because, you know me, I love Krypton stuff so much that I just latch onto that, and I'm like, Superman's kind of whatever, but we got a fun enough Jor-El.
This movie now is just Lois Lane is Barbarella, and Jor-El is her like assistant that like tells her what to do.
What if Jor-El was like, you know, Kal-El didn't really turn out the way I was expecting him to, and I'm not really sure about his upbringing because his father has these really weird ideas about destiny and crap. And he has the same ability that Jor-El in Superman 2 has to just give and take powers away. So he goes, you know what? I'm going to take him away from Kal-El. I'm going to give him to Lois. I'm going to give Lois his powers.
The inside of this escape pod, like the pattern on it, looks exactly like the one film logo. I forget what logo it is, but it's not the DC one. It's not the WB one. I think it starts with an S. It's like the exact same pattern.
Is it
Which might be
Hope?
intentional, but I feel
Is
like
it a
it's
thing
on
called
all of
Hope?
yes.
Oh,
It is called
okay.
Hope. That's one of those things I can also accept in a continuity, but I also feel like we try way too hard to justify the S thing.
Yeah.
And this isn't just this movie. That's just we do that a lot in places. It's just an S. Like I don't know. I feel like we overthink it.
Well, and that starts with Donner because the crest idea. We talked about this when we did a commentary on that recently, but the idea of the S being a house crest and the Kryptonians having those starts from in that movie, and everything does it now. But Donner,
Yeah, exactly.
Donner,
And that's something
came
I'm
up
not
with
a
that.
big fan of, but you are correct.
I don't care what Austin says. The score makes me really happy.
That's fine if it makes you happy.
You know, as frustrating as this movie is, I'm having enough fun talking over it that I'm wishing that this was more of the experience I knew we were gonna have moving forward. Like, I wish they were all this movie.
Oh no, I'm like I wish all these movies were Black Adam. That's the one I'm most excited to get to. I cannot wait to do
You
Black
want
Adam.
you want the weirdly bad ones.
Yeah. No, I'm ready for the hierarchy of this to be shifted.
Well, and I am finding myself talking a lot about character and story with this just because I know this movie decently well. These will be different commentaries as we move along. Because some of these will be more, I don't remember this movie. Let's react to what we're seeing. This I feel like we're doing a test I haven't studied for. I keep forgetting it's a Mania. Austin, how does Mania work? I don't know how the hell to do this show.
Well, first of all, you pick random extras. You say they look like perverts, and step 3 is profit.
Can you slow down a minute? I need to write this down.
Oh, okay, sorry. Step 1.
I like the Superman takeoff in this.
Oh, sure.
The way he lifts off the ground's pretty great. Oh, he will find it though. You watch.
I will find him.
Can we get another take of "Go to Hell" there, Martha? I'm not sure. I'm buying that line delivery. Go to hell. She thinks she's in Tremors or something.
You said it more like Alice Cooper.
Joel Davis, $5 super chat. Thank you. How do you think Man of Steel would have gone down if they'd kept Goyer's script, but anyone else remotely competent directed it? I think the bigger problems with the movie are at the script level and not in the directing level. I do. I've got, obviously, plenty of issues with Snyder. The biggest thing is coverage, and there are choices that are maybe made arguably because of who's directing it. Oh, this was somebody's favorite scene.
Superman, no, you're killing everyone.
And we're not even into
throw
the
him into
city yet.
cornfield.
Well, he's at least making crops difficult to grow.
He's making crop circles.
Oh, now he blew up the 7-Eleven. Now he's killing everyone. Sorry, when you said that, where I was in the movie was he's just going across grass.
Oh no, but I said it when he pushes him through whatever that factory is and it explodes.
Oh, I guess I missed that
So,
part.
because
I forgot we already had an explosion.
yeah, and that's something that
I hate when that happens.
is more justified when you get to the Metropolis fight. Like there is a level of damage that he can't control. He's still punching people through buildings and stuff.
But he can go any direction.
This one, like the Smallville fight,
rural area.
Well, not only that, they're only after Clark at this point. They're not even just like attacking the people to get to him. They're only after him in this moment. He could just fly away and they would follow him.
And he's got a good enough handle on his powers now that he could do that.
Yeah.
You can't say he's jumping around trying to figure out how to even get around at this point. Like, he can control his flight now.
Yeah. Yeah, and to throw out another positive, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, can I say this real quick? I will even go as far as to say, if Snyder had to justify cool explosions and people dying for no good reason, just do what we said earlier and say Superman doesn't have a handle on his powers at all yet. And I've heard people use that excuse, and I think it's a bunk excuse. I think at this point, it's clear enough that he knows how to fly any direction he wants to fly. Just say he can't get around very well yet. He can leap pretty high, and that's about it. And then
I was going to mention that with the villains, because that's obviously why he's able to fight them, because they're better. They know combat more than he does. But I do like that there is a level of like, oh, you have to adjust to being able to do this, which obviously we just saw with Zod.
Oh, Super Billy, I forgot that's who that was. So one of the Smallville recastings in this is that weird-looking guy we said was born to play aliens and perverts. And that guy
Did he play a pervert on Smallville?
No, he played an aging Lex Luthor clone after Rosenbaum left the show. He's one of the several Lexes in that show. I did not remember that, but now that he says that, I knew that face from somewhere, and that's where it is. He was born to play aliens, perverts, and clones.
Sounds like a Cher song.
Somebody asked, let's see, Draven G, do you think Gunn will use the Legion? Yeah, I'd be surprised if we never saw the Legion of Superheroes anywhere.
Well, Legion's, like, bizarrely popular with creators. Like, every time I hear comic creators talk about things they love, they always bring up Legion, and I wouldn't be surprised if
know a reader that gives a crap
fan.
about Legion, but boy, do comic writers love them. Yeah, blow up the IHOP.
No, not the IHOP.
No, I used to work there. It freaking sucked. Blow it to hell.
No, I hate IHOP.
Blow it
I went
up.
to Florida when I was a kid, and the only place we could eat for breakfast was an IHOP next to our motel, and it was god awful.
So if I'm writing a rule book or like a book of pointers for how to use your powers, one of the first things I write the Superman is learn how to fly up. There are multiple points in this movie where going up would have been really useful, and he never does it.
Here's like the first image we got of Superman.
I was gonna say we had a lot of promotional images with this. It's a cool look. Fiora and her one-liners, man. She's got to throw out those Kryptonian platitudes every which way.
She is absolutely famous for being a comedian. That is true. And there's none.
Oh, I never noticed that before. One of the soldiers for a call sign or something says Jayhawk, and we're we're in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Let's read more comments here, Austin. We're never gonna get through all this. Can you?
Did you read one last?
I did. Why don't you do one? Why don't you do one?
Okay, from Victor. The thing that he liked most was General Zod's first message to the people of Earth. That is one of the best scenes.
We already did that.
The thing that he would change is I wish the movie expressed Clark's character and internal growth in more concrete, substantial ways. For all the scenes he's in, and despite Cavill's great performance, I never really feel like I have a great sense of the man, and then in brackets, of Steel. And
but look, he just saved the guy, Austin. You know, it's sort of
He
token,
did, yeah.
but like Snyder at least remembered for a minute there Superman's supposed to save people. So he saved the guy. Good job, Superman.
The IHOP people are justified. If you're willing to eat at IHOP, then
If you're willing to
you
work
probably
at
deserve to
IHOP.
die. Yeah, Pete Ross should die for working at IHOP. I agree.
We're kidding.
Victor
We're kidding.
says,
You take the job you can get, okay? Especially in this economy. Go ahead, Austin.
remember when IHOP was like, we're IHOB now, we're going to make burgers?
Oh yeah,
No,
that was great. That lasted 5 minutes.
it's justified. Victor also says, I was surprised by how the action was executed, good and bad. The level of destruction is excessive, but this is also one of the few superhero movies where characters believably move and fight like they're actually superhuman.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think the action's better in this scene. I think it gets like headache-inducing in the third act, but like the way they're moving and stuff in this scene works.
Somebody earlier called the whole movie just one giant headache.
Yeah, I mean you're not wrong. We're also into the section now where it is just going to be action for the rest of the movie, and that is kind of numbing.
That makes it easy for us to talk over, though.
Yeah.
Boy, the sound effects guy went hard on those knives, man.
On those knives.
So,
Fair and your one-liners again.
So this guy's call sign, the soldier, is Guardian, and I don't know if that's an intentional nod to the comics just before Death of Superman or not. There's a couple things like that, because again, we know that Snyder is wanting to do that eventually. He's got Emil Hamilton here, who was a big character in the early 90s. Like, he is thinking about that period, and he called this guy Guardian, who's a big character in that period also. So I always saw it as probably an intentional nod, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it could be.
I think
very
one
well
of the reasons
could be.
I was on a high with this movie when it came out too was just finally doing some comic crap, man. I mean, like, yeah, it's got to be Zod again, but there's at least a couple of comic booky things. Like, they knew who Emil Hamilton was. That made me happy. And that casting is awesome. In some ways, that's the best casting in the movie. I wish that guy got something to do. And his best scene is cut out.
He dies, right?
He sacrifices himself at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so.
Or maybe he just slips and dies, but I'm pretty sure he does a thing. I'm pretty sure it's important.
He slips and hits his head off the bathtub and dies.
He's that kind of comic
I'm sorry,
relief where
I can't save you. My father said no.
He exists to die, so we'll laugh. He's that kind of comic relief.
Exactly. We love to see it.
But writer, shout out to Martian Manhunter in this scene. Yeah, retroactively. Completely and utterly retroactively. That's the guy from Matrix Reloaded.
Oh.
I mean, he's less of an asshole in this than he is in Matrix Reloaded.
That's at least good. So this is where you arrest him for destroying Smallville. Oh, no, he's not your enemy? Okay, never mind.
No, we arrested him before he did anything. And now people are dead, and we're fine with it.
Well, he saved that Sears. That Sears was in pristine shape. There was fire and stuff in the parking lot, but he saved Sears.
To be fair, they're only looking out for their own, because the only person we saw him really actively save was a soldier. So they're like, thank you very much, Superman. You saved one of our guys. We don't care about all these town folk. I never thought about that before, but that's kind of how it was.
Well, that's technically a level of product placement, because to a degree, because they obviously worked with the actual U.S. military, and there were like a million Superman military ads. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Okay, Martha, your husband died, and you're on your own on a farm, so when you say you can always be replaced, I mean, like, with loads of debt.
Bruce Wayne bought the bank. It's okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot Bruce Wayne bought the bank. She'll be fine. And also,
Oh, look, it's that pervert again.
insurance will probably pay for it. Yeah, it's the Lex Luthor clone. It's that perverted Lex Luthor clone. Justin Hayes. Let me read his comments. The first flight of the Superman. It was his favorite scene. Clark in the Arctic learning to fly, accompanied by probably my favorite Zimmer track. Yeah, I have the same thing. He says, this thing I think about when I hear Man of Steel. And then he says the thing he would change when Zod says, now I have no people, instead of just round 2 of the fight, that should open an opportunity for Clark to talk to him. Either by talking Zod down once he's been defeated, or at least otherwise attempting to. Yeah, there's no way he'd actually fully talk him down. He's too resolved. But I have that frustration through the whole movie, where Superman is just too monosyllabic in general, and there's natural places where he should be responding to things and trying something.
No, very true, very true.
And then he says the part that surprised him most, when I first saw the movie, I was 13, and it surprised me that Superman could be this cool. And then he says, I got better.
I got better. I mean, hey, if you like this movie, like this movie. It's all good.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's preteens and teens that really had that might.
Oh no, I'm sure
that might grow up and look back at it and see problems in it.
I remember I started watching this with my dad, and I think like around this point he just got up and went to bed.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay.
But I mean, it's more thoughtful, and there's more going on than like a Michael Bay Transformers or something. At least
I'm not as bored in a Michael Bay Transformers movie as I am now.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about
story depth. But
I'm just saying
I would
depth.
also much rather watch those.
And that's fair, but that's not the conversation I'm having. Like I don't think you can argue with there's a little more depth in this, even or at least in the initial ideas, than in at least the Transformers movies I've seen. I can't speak to all of them.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's interesting ideas with the Krypton. They don't do anything with them.
I mean, that first Transformers movie is just there's this cube thing everyone's after. I mean, that's it. Like nothing else happens in that.
When we're at that point though, where it's just there's the Superman we're after.
No, that's
we have got a little like some more interesting ideas.
But there's a little more beneath
they're gone by this point.
And how they got here in the first place. You don't have that kind of exploration in Transformers. Look, I'm trying to give it what I can give it, okay? Because some people thought that we were going to come in here and just throw sticks the whole time, and I'm going to give it what I can give it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. That's more honest.
And I can throw sticks too.
You are correct.
The dubstep sound is irritating. I get why people.
Yeah, what do you think this is? Amazing 2? Get out of here, Zimmer.
This is one of those things too where I don't think terraforming was overused yet, but I feel like we've done it too much now.
Oh, you think so?
I'm not even thinking great examples right now, but
yeah, I can't think of any other big
that is a
thing
thought I've had watching other things
in a blockbuster movie.
Where I'm like, I'm sick of terraforming. Well, Ninja Turtles did it. I mean, there's definitely some other stuff that did it, but
I completely forgot that's in that second one, I guess.
Yeah,
I forgot that was in there.
Krang's Technodrome is a terraforming machine.
Oh, okay. All I remember is that I love Krang because he punches himself back into his robot suit.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, they ripped that off from IDW because that's what it is in Waltz's run. Because he's doing the same thing.
Does he punch himself back into his robot suit?
No, he's using the Technodrome as a... So he's trying to make the atmosphere on Earth compatible for Dimension X, just like Zod is trying to turn this into Krypton.
Oh, okay.
It's all coming back to me, Austin. Look, we've only got half an hour. Can you read a comment?
Well, Adam March says
Yeah.
too much terraforming proceeds to list one other instance
Yes.
of terraforming.
Well, I remember.
Um,
You know what? Maybe I'm only thinking that because I saw it in Waltz, and then I saw it in the thing that ripped off Waltz. Ripped it off. I mean, used that in a not very good movie. I know there's other stuff, and it's just not coming to me. I thought maybe even one of the Transformers movies did it, but I might be wrong about that.
I mean, they do the like bring Cybertron to Earth thing in 3,
Yeah,
but
that's not the same thing. You know, and as soon as I said it, I was like, people are going to give me crap because I'm not going to be able to think of it.
Oh, wait, 4 might do a terraforming thing. 'Cause it's like the seed or whatever, and it makes like metal. That might technically be like kind of terraforming.
I'm telling you, I know I've seen a lot of terraforming crap.
So Serial, when pigs fly, he says, my favorite scene is when he's learning about his powers at school. The idea of him having to adapt and learn over the course of his childhood is interesting, but is a little underdeveloped. I agree. I think that is a cool idea, and I wish we had more of it, but it is cool.
Yeah, but we got to blow up trains and IHOPs.
Exactly. From what he would change, he says the thing I would change is the relaxed attitude Superman has to saving lives.
Yep.
Particularly in the Smallville scene, for example, he just jumps over the truck that crashes into the IHOP, which explodes. That probably killed a few people. He should have caught it and then put the truck down. Superman values life over everything else. I think as a kid, I thought the weird thing about the movie was the lack of color. It's Superman. He's supposed to be bright and colorful. That's how he makes himself relatable to children. Very true. Well, and then for...
Sorry, I was going to say, that's the issue I've always had with this is I can't decide how much this Superman does regard life. Because he's such a conflicted and sort of jaded version where he is raised like he's kind of an outcast. He's not relating to people. His father gives him some of the right lessons, but then he says some really confusing things that might put him on not the path Superman would usually take, and the whole thing is just muddled to me. So when you say, like, you know, Superman always puts lives ahead of other people, he should be wearing bright colors because he's Superman. Snyder's Superman is not my Superman, or maybe he's supposed to be, I'm never sure. Do you see what I'm saying? You know, and it could be that Earth One thing where he starts in one place and then he eventually gets there. But it's definitely not the traditional Superman and the Christopher Reeve Superman where he's raised to be one of us and he thinks of himself as human first. He thinks of himself as a part. And he's looking for an excuse to be the altruistic, you know, savior, you know, a mankind character.
And then instead of a change, he says, question for you guys on stream. How many people do you think Superman has a hand in killing in this movie?
I mean, it's a decent number.
It is a decent number. I don't know offhand.
It's hard to say by the time you get into the city. I mean, like, in Smallville, it's probably less than 20.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna say like 100.
That's
least,
what
if not more.
That was the number I was
probably more once you get to like them destroying Metropolis, but I'll just say 100.
Yeah, and I'll be generous and say half that number at least is justified. What I mean by that is half that number he might not be able to help, and we just need, like you suggested earlier, when he gets into the city.
And there might be IHOP customers too.
But I was just gonna say, you know, he's fighting Zod. He's there's going to be some collateral damage that he's not going to be able to help, but we just need more shots like we did with Christopher Reeve of him feeling something about it. Or if the idea is supposed to be he doesn't know how to feel about it yet and he's struggling with compassion, the movie's got to be more about that then. And that's where when Victor said we need to get in his head more, that's the big frustration, is then he's got to be talking about it. And then I start questioning the motives of the filmmaker, because I go, and then this becomes a gigantic issue with BVS, where I go, is this movie about a Superman that doesn't know where his loyalties lie and what regard he has for life, or is it a movie about a Superman that's supposed to be the traditional version, kind of, to some degree, who has maybe a more jaded backstory, but we just need to see cool things happening on screen. And so we're not supposed to be thinking about any of those people dying. And when you get to BVS, it's clear that that's absolutely what it is by then. And because we have people talking about Batman as not a killer who is now killing, or who is now branding people, but we see scenes where he's just straight up taking people out. And we're not supposed to be thinking about that when it's happening. It's supposed to just look cool. I'm convinced that's what it is in this too.
Well, also, do these weird Krypton fetuses count as kills too? Because he's going to destroy that ship full of them.
See, I don't want to touch that, because I feel like then you just get into a giant abortion debate, and I'm not going to do that on this channel. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Well,
I'll get so political, Austin.
What Superman's fighting right now looks very Matrixy.
Yes,
I'll switch topics and go to that.
I appreciate that. If we could avoid the third rail, that'd be great. Robert said a thing that I wanted to argue with him about. What the hell was it?
What the hell are you saying, Robert? Bob the Hunt says I'm going to an After Dark place. That did not even cross my mind when I said it.
As soon as you said that, I was like,
but I guess to a degree,
we're going there. We're going there. I'll find it in a minute. I'll read this one first. Robert, it's important to note that literally all of humanity would be dead if Superman didn't do anything. I just wish he didn't look so stoic for most of the movie, but it's definitely worse in BVS. Yeah, well, and it's also partly worse in BVS because of the real, godlike, grimdark one-liners he has to Batman. You never want to hear Superman, any version of Superman, say, consider this mercy. Like, I'm out when Superman says that. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the Metropolis stuff is more justified than the Smallville stuff. Like, obviously, there's no stopping this. Like, he is saving these people. But I also think that there is a level of disconnect. But I do think, in terms of the criticism that Superman doesn't save enough people in this movie, I do think you have a level of disconnect when Superman stops the terraforming machine that is just in the middle of the ocean, and it's the military people that go after the one in Metropolis that hit it with the Phantom Drive thing. I do think that causes a level of disconnect where you're not necessarily thinking about all the lives he's saving here, because he's in the middle of nowhere.
Robert, I cannot find that comment.
Part of why you get that.
He said something that I felt like I didn't make myself clear about something. I needed to reiterate it, but now I can't find that comment, so I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's all good.
Whatever. Let's finish reading these comments. Sakib's favorite moment is Superman's first flight, like everybody else or a lot of other people. Main thing he would change is Superman killing Zod, and what surprised him most is that Lois knew his secret identity from the beginning. That's kind of my list, except I don't actually know what I would say is my favorite moment in this movie, Austin. You know what? I'm going to go with the most Snyder-ish shot that I love out of any kind of context, It's Black Suit Superman of the Skulls. That just, outside of any context, is just badass looking.
You were complaining when it happened, and now it's your
I know.
favorite shot.
That's what I'm saying. Is it looks cool. I'm just a paradise. I'm just an absolute paradise. I have a little bit of a McFarlane thing with Snyder, where like the grimdark do this just because it looks cool, and the kind of like hardcore '90s isn't this badass thing is annoying to me when you're trying to tell a story. But some of those sensibilities I share when it comes to just neat looking images. And the difference is, I think the thing I think McFarlane is brilliant at, he's more brilliant at than the thing I think Snyder is actually good at. That's the difference. So I can't do the thing I do with McFarlane where I say he's my favorite artist and he's my least favorite writer. Like, Snyder's not my favorite anything, but I do think he's a better visual director than he is a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman needs a line here. No. I don't know if it's that line.
He has a line.
I don't know if it's that line. I forgot he had a line there. I'm so used to him just not having any dialogue. He says Krypton had its chance. I think Krypton was already destroyed, or Krypton's dead or something. Could have had a cooler response.
Krypton's dead. I will make it so. He visions them. Now I'm gonna snap your neck, Zod.
We're not even getting into the logic with the codex and all of that, because I don't remember everything, and I've talked about this a lot, but some of that I remember being
the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom.
I remember some of that being really confusing. Do you have any more comments on your side?
Yes.
He will read it!
This movie is too dark and serious for a Wilhelm scream.
Yes, it is.
So, Subject 879.
Know what you're making.
John, he says his best thing is Superman's first flight. He says, I'd change Jonathan Kent's death, just make it the heart attack from the comics. And then he says, I was surprised at how well the fight scene was done. There's only one fight scene.
That was a great fight scene.
Imagine someone with that level of power fighting. To be fair, the action scenes are so one after another. You can count it as one.
You could maybe count it as one.
There's been one like hour and a half long fight scene.
Oh, I forgot about that repeated "a good death is its own reward" line. This movie is so much more cohesive and coherent than BVS. Like, it feels like a movie.
Which is why it's worse for it. BVS is at least interesting in how bad it is. Thank God Lois fell off that ship, though. Otherwise, she would also be in the Phantom Zone.
Oh, yeah. And then what would Superman do?
Kill everyone.
I think it would just blow up the planet. Yeah.
He'd finish the job that
he'd drop
Zod
a lot
doing.
more satellite dishes, that's for sure. Killer Moth returns. $5 super chat. I don't know. You got to give this a lot of its effects, man. Like all the like flying drop-ins look really good, and I mean there's hard stuff to do that looks really good in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Hey, looks Jenny, not Olsen. Killer Moth returns, $5 super chat. This movie feels like an ultimate Marvel comic without the part where the writer actually understands and likes what makes the character work, or can't communicate what he's doing with it. It's one of those two things.
Oh my God! Look how bad the city is in the background. In Fallout.
You know what I want to happen right this very moment, Austin?
What's that?
Predator shows up. This
This
Superman, this Superman versus Predator, that feels appropriate to me.
That would last like 5 seconds. You would just obliterate Predator.
This feels like the universe where that's a Superman villain. I would approve of that. Well, because it's so much more sci-fi-ish, and like obviously, you know, wants to go to darker places. Oh, Zod's pissed.
He's gonna rip his CGI armor off in a sec.
I like that they subtly get new Krypton in there. That's kind of nice.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And remember, that big new Krypton story was huge just a few years before this. Unfortunately, it had a real crap ending, but people loved that status quo for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we got
I couldn't remember when exactly that was.
got some Marvel green screen happening here. It was ending just as I was getting into current Austin, which was 2010.
Oh,
so
okay.
it would have finished up just as this was being prepped. That doesn't mean that they looked at it at all, but the timing is there. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
And now it's just revenge, and I totally buy that. Because he has no reason for living at this point. Okay, Goyer, I hate you. I with a passion. I always forget about that, and then when it comes back, it pisses me off, Austin. He did the Dark Knight Rises thing again, which was just the year before this. The only thing you can think to have your hero say in response to that is, I will stop you? It's freaking kids with action figures again. I don't know, I'm gonna stop you. Come on!
Hello, Zod. I'm Superman.
And again, Goyer's name is not on Rises, but he's got a story credit, I think. You cannot tell me he didn't write that line. You cannot tell me he didn't take a pass. And then his name's on this movie and it's here again. That's my proof, folks! He wrote that damn line. Hate it.
That's like his Michael Jackson using some Sonic stuff in one of his albums just to prove that he actually worked on Sonic 3.
Austin, how do you feel about the...
There's the LexCorp truck.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I'm sure there's a name
now
for
everyone's dead.
For this camera. I don't know what to say right now. My there's too many senses firing now. Just trying to watch the scene. I'm being inundated, Austin, with images. Anyway, but how do you feel about those shots where we do like quick zoom-ins on things? I've never been the biggest fan of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like we'll have kind of a back-off shot.
He uses it constantly.
Yeah. I've never loved that.
He uses that in this movie like he uses like the soft focus thing in that zombie movie he did for Netflix.
Oh, Dan Schneider says he can't super chat. Try refreshing your browser. I'm not sure people have had that before. Thanks for trying, though. I appreciate you, man. Also, let me know if I've missed any super chats, guys. But I think we've got everything.
This movie's also weirdly serious for that joke where he knocks Superman into the sign that's like 166 days without accident. And then the numbers fall off and it just says 0.
Dan Schneider was trying to send it. Sorry, are you saying you like that or you think it's stupid?
Oh, he sounds like Dr. Evil?
Yeah.
I mean, he just sounds like Michael Shannon. I don't hear Dr. Evil at all.
But sorry, I just missed because I was reading that. I missed what you said about the sign.
Oh, I just said that feels like this movie's like weirdly too serious for that kind of like a gag in the background.
It cannot decide.
No, that is a funny joke.
Yeah, I like it.
That.
But it is it does take you out a little bit because it's like, what level of levity is this movie willing to go to? Because it's so deadpan, with a couple of notable exceptions like that.
No, it's just kind of like that Wilhelm thing I said, where like I feel like it's a little too serious for that as a gag. But
Well, and if only
I
its
like that joke.
characters were allowed to, if we were allowed to experience more of the gamut of human emotion with them, we wouldn't mind bits like that. The place where it feels most stylized is in how like super deeply serious everything is, and that's a way to go.
There's the Wayne Tech logo.
You can do that, but you are risking your Superman not feeling like a real person, being relatable when you do that. I had this thought today, Austin, when I knew this was coming. I was just thinking about this movie a little bit. In a weird way, and I've never heard anybody talk about this. It's a little bit of that Batman '89 problem of like, your take is you have an outcast that doesn't talk to anyone, so you wall him off from the audience. Like, it's kind of like it's kind of like Burton's Batman in that way.
Well, I was gonna say I feel like Superman has a reputation of being boring now because Superman is really boring, and then this is the movie that's like, well, we're gonna make him cool, and just makes him really deadpan.
Yeah, and they're both really monosyllabic, where he's got the fewest lines of anybody in his own movie. It feels like. Okay, Austin, I want you to give me an alternative to the next snap than what he does. Go.
Just let them die.
No, Austin. Now, Superman wouldn't do that.
No, I don't. I feel like this is one of those scenes that everyone's like broken down times. Like, there's lots of ways that he could have gotten at.
All I meant was, do you agree with me on that he's got alternatives?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Like, stuff he should probably try. And
it's just
the thing that always bugged me about it too is the only thing he tries is the one thing he can't possibly know if it would work.
Yeah,
it's so contrived. It's like, you are fighting against a guy that has all the powers you do and that is nigh destructible. You don't know if this will do anything. You don't know if you can kill him with that, and it happens to work. But like, if it didn't, everyone's in way more danger. Like, it's kind of the most dangerous thing you could possibly try if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You can't,
especially
because
the way he's got to like let go. Yeah.
That where I would believe he has to kill him. Writer, I feel like they were most proven wrong with this idea that the audience didn't want solo films first, because Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman were the best performing movies of the DCEU.
I mean, that's not true, but Aquaman is one. But no, I mean, I think people just wanted movies they like, so whether it was like a team movie, low film.
Maybe one way to gain people's trust would be not to throw satellites out of the sky. He's like,
no, that's how they know they're allies.
He's like, how do we know that you won't turn against our interests? And he's like, I grew up in Kansas, and we're all supposed to go, look how down to earth and relatable he is. And also, isn't it kind of weird that he just has no secret identity from them?
Well, because the
right?
I guess traditional thing that you see now is that Superman doesn't have a secret identity because he's Kal-El. Like, everyone, it's not like he's walking around being like, "Yeah, I grew up in Kansas."
Yeah, but he just said that.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like part of that idea is something we typically do, but not like that.
But I'm just saying here, like, they literally know that he's Clark Kent, or that he's somebody that they could figure it out pretty quick. I mean, like he goes, I grew up in Kansas. I'm like, I don't know. You don't have a secret identity from the government. That's weird.
That's realistic.
They use this in the marketing pretty hard.
Yes, and this scene of them remembering him seeing Clark with a cape when he was a kid, I feel like is how you set up Martha making the suit.
That's what I thought from that teaser, or when they used it in the trailer, and I was like, oh, she's gonna make the suit in this one, and then she didn't. I'm like, okay, so then it's just a weird coincidence that he runs around in a cape, and he's not inspired by Superman, a fictional character, because he is Superman. So the whole thing is weird now.
Or what you do is you merge them. You have, because Jor-El didn't have a cape, like he just had the suit. You could have had it where just the suit is on that ship and he and Martha add the cape.
Oh, that's good. Super Billy, $5 super chat. If Superman can break Zod's neck, couldn't he have broken his back and paralyzed him or blinded him? More or less ethical than killing him. I mean, like, yoink his eyes out or something. I mean, I was thinking more like Three Stooges, but then you really get into a weird, what kind of levity do we have in this movie plays?
Zod pick 2. Oh, they go crazy in the sound design, like that knife part.
Yeah. So it's weird that I can't remember the actor's name, but it's weird now that this guy plays Lombard because he has a ton of scenes with the new Lois Lane in House of Cards in the first season.
Okay.
He's
also in the Penguin.
Oh, that's true. He's in Penguin, but yeah, they're majorly connected in that show.
I forgot that Steve Lombard. To be honest, I knew that guy was there. I just didn't realize that's who that was.
Yeah, he's name dropped by Perry White.
Yeah.
So I only remembered it because I was looking at the subtitles.
Yeah, no, I heard him say it too there.
I don't want to give myself too much credit. Like, I remember that guy's name is Lombard. I would not have remembered that. I wish that said produced by Christopher Nolan against his will. That's what I wish it said.
No, he loves this movie.
He strapped Christopher Nolan to a chair. We said, we're going to force feed you nothing but chicken nuggets and eggnog until this is done.
And he was like, oh no, not chicken nuggets. No, my weakness.
I can't decide if that's the worst or the best Christopher Nolan impression. Hey, how many more comments
do you have? That sounds exactly like Christopher Nolan.
How many more comments do you have?
Let me see. One. Oh, I have one left.
Okay, I've got 3, but two of them are short. Go ahead.
So from Super Billy, he says, my favorite moment is Superman saving Lois from the escape pod. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
He says something that he would change is more dialogue and screen time for Superman. I feel like a lot of people have said that. Like, that's come up quite a bit.
I think that's the correct answer.
Sorry, more dialogue and screen time for Superman that isn't plot or action oriented. Yep. Do more to establish and develop his character and his relationship with the supporting cast.
That is correct.
Agreed.
Yep.
And for a change, the most surprise thing, he says, hate to be a broken record. And yeah, fair enough.
Sorry, Austin, you're going to have to repeat that last one. We lost you for a minute.
No worries. He says, hate to be a broken record, but it would have to be Superman Zod for, like, the biggest shock.
Yeah. I mean, that shocked everybody, because it's tacked on. And you could tell how tacked on it is. Kando Tor's favorite moment is the first flight. He says the score is wonderful. The contrast of the suit against the snow looks really cool. And you get to see Clark actually be happy for a few seconds. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people anyway are saying that scene, because that's what they want the movie to be.
Hmm.
He says he would show a more concerted effort, or have Superman show a more concerted effort to save people and not actively destroy everything in the city during the finale. I'm with Austin, though. I think the problem is less the city and more Smallville. Or fix how stupid the John Kent death scene is. Yes. What self-respecting Kansan is hiding under an overpass in a tornado? And he says his most surprising thing is the Zod neck snap. I'm not sure what I was expecting from Superman, even under the weight of the Dark Knight-esque grounded approach to the character. Yeah, but like even Batman never does anything like that. Like the harshest thing he does is snap a guy's leg in Dark Knight, and we're making a big point out of how desperate he is at that point. Like,
Hmm. He did kill Ra's al Ghul, and Superman is at
he
least
just didn't have to save him.
manslaughter.
He didn't. He just he didn't
It's
have to save
closer
him.
to first degree and begins. He fully premeditated that murder.
It cracks me up how close the debate around uh, did he actually kill Ra's al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul in Begins or not is to the friends we were on a break thing. Like it's the same argument, really. Slit Maker. My favorite moment is the scene where Superman casually floats over a gas truck Zod has launched at him, allowing it to destroy the building behind him with no remorse.
With no survivors.
That's all he said. And then Jajira says his favorite moment is the "You are my son" line. As an adopted child, he says that scene felt real. That's a good call. He says I would add a scene where Clark talks to Lois or Martha. And see, Austin, that was for me the flash of what his version of that character would have been and why he was good casting.
Yeah, I like that moment well enough. I do think he's still like kind of wooden. Like I don't know that he really sells it, but I like that line.
I would love to have been a fly on the wall to see how he interacted with Snyder. He says he would add a scene where Clark talks to Lois or Martha about how horrible it felt breaking Zod's neck. Yes, before he destroys the satellite and talks to the military. And he says it sadly didn't surprise me. It was disappointing as I expected. Wow. And I wonder if he just didn't have any faith in Snyder. Because I think most of us went into this expecting a pretty decent movie, if not a great movie. Like there wasn't a lot of talk around, oh God, like what's going to happen with this? All the polarizing stuff was after it. Like there weren't a lot of naysayers before we walked in.
Not that I remember. I mean, it's hard to say. You know, I don't think I was following super closely, but like I remember being excited for this. And I remember dragging my mom to take me to see this in the theater, and she was not happy.
Like she didn't want to go in the first place,
like this,
or she didn't
yeah,
like
exactly.
it?
But then she took me anyways. It was that and the year after with Godzilla in 2014.
Oh, and that movie's also kind of disappointing. That's probably technically
like
a better movie
fine,
than this,
but like it's
only technically.
Yeah, I mean that's a great looking movie. I'm glad that they finally fixed the home release.
How so? I don't know much about that movie.
So when they put it out on Blu-ray, it's way darker on Blu-ray than it was in the theater, and it's something that every time I've rewatched it, I'm like, are my memories just faulty? And then they put it out on 4K and they fixed it, and now I can watch it and go, oh, okay, no, this movie was a lot brighter in the theater. Than
Okay.
I thought
Weird.
it was just from Blu-ray. Yeah, it's you can. I'll show you some screenshots afterwards. It's like really crazy.
Sure. No, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for whatever reason, it's way darker on Blu-ray. It's really hard to see. And that's like a dark movie already, so.
Godzilla. Superman breaks Zod's neck and he says, "We were on a break."
That's his big one-liner.
And then somebody standing there is like, that just doesn't even make any sense. I don't know why you're saying that. The hell does that mean?
This is a guy off screen, but I'm.
Dan's Den, when Snyder was announced as director, a lot of people rolled their eyes. Okay, I don't remember that.
Well, that's why, like, when you said it, I was like, I don't remember there being a lot of controversy with him being picked, but at the same time, I feel like I could see there being, just because he had done Watchmen and 300, like him doing Superman then off of those is a choice. So like I could also see people reacting negatively to that. I just don't remember that.
Yeah, all I remember is just the excitement after that teaser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Austin, we're one down, man.
Yeah, it's exciting. One down and a bunch more to go. 15 more to go, I think. I think it's 16.
Yeah, there's 16 overall. And I clearly still enjoy this one more than you do, even though I've, dropped real hard.
Yeah, I feel like
when it first came
I
out.
feel like I came into this wanting to be more positive, and like the movie slowly wore me down. Where I'm bored watching this.
I'm sorry, man. Well,
it's
okay. That's the contrast
I'm
between
not bored
us.
talking over it. I'm just like I find the movie itself boring.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get bored with this. I just get frustrated with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But tomorrow we're doing BVS.
I'm more excited about tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean it'll be fun. Tomorrow we're doing. People keep asking about cuts with things, and I think my rule is gonna be it depends on what's on Max, so we can maximize how many people can actually watch it with us. And I think Max has both cuts. So if we want to, we can do the longer one. And I feel like we'll probably get some backlash if we don't do the one that people think makes more sense. Now, having combed through that with the written rewind that broke me in like a spawn year kind of way, I don't know if I even agree with that anymore. But that's how people feel about it. I don't know what you want to do, Austin. We haven't really talked about it.
I'm fine with whatever. I mean, I've always said that the only people that talk about how it drastically fixed it were the people that liked it in the first place. But I'm fine with whatever.
Okay, we'll decide that for sure tomorrow then. Because we are having to double some of these up, and we're gonna have some really long nights. Obviously, this one we're not gonna do another movie after it, but like, how close to 3 hours does the longer one get? I can't remember.
I think it's like 6 minutes over 3 hours. I think it's slightly over.
Oh, is
but
it
I could be
even
wrong.
It's over 3 hours.
I want to say it's over 3, just slightly.
Okay, I'll look that up real quick.
Yeah, because streaming here we only have the theatrical cut, which is 2.5 hours. But I mean, I could be wrong. It could be closer to like 250.
No, 182 minutes. Yeah, you're right. You're almost spot on. 3 hours.
So
3 hours and 2 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was definitely over 3.
And the theatrical version is 2.5. So I don't know. I mean, I guess you could argue if we're willing to sit here for 2.5 hours, why not 3? Without another movie. So I don't know. I'm leaning toward that cut. That's probably what we'll do. I know that's what a lot of people will want us to do.
I kind of assumed that's probably what it would be, but at the same time, I was like, it's also not a given, so I'm fine with whatever.
Archie Godzilla, some of that 3+ hours is probably credits. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to have 15 minutes of that, but...
Yeah, we still got to talk over them.
That is true. But yeah, so we're one down, and it gave me an excuse to get this crazy thing out again. I don't think I own all of these movies yet. There's definitely a couple more recent ones that I never bought because they're not good, and so I wasn't in a hurry.
I think I only own BVS and the Suicide Squad, but trying to remember. I used to own Wonder Woman, but I think I gave it to my mom. Um,
Was that one that she did not mind you dragging her to, or did you not drag her to that?
I didn't drag her to that one, but she really likes.
Yeah.
So she would have been happy if she watched that one. But uh, no, I don't think I saw any of the DCEU films with her in the theater after Man of Steel. Now that I think about it, yeah, I don't think she's seen any of them theatrically. Because
Uh,
we watched BVS and Suicide Squad like years later. I was visiting, and she was like, "Oh, I've never seen these."
I will say there's a couple of more recent ones that I bought for that I bought to have in the background for the movie because I needed, not to give too much away, but I needed bad movies, and some of the more recent things I felt like I needed to have on the floor. I needed to have in the background. So that's probably why
Mhm.
I have Flash.
I should buy a Black Adam 'cause that movie is fantastic.
Oh
But
my god.
I
Bob the
only want it in that Man of Steel double pack. That's the only way I will buy that.
Bob the Hun says he doesn't want to sit through 3 hours. Nicholas Bodo would be down to see you guys go through the director's cut because it's Snyder's vision. It's his vision, Austin.
Okay, great says the theatrical cut is better. It has no establishing shots, and you can never tell where you are scene to scene. That is true.
And Man of Steel has few establishing shots, but it still has more than BVS. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and
I
get
just,
going.
yeah.
Sorry, what were you say?
No, I was gonna say I imagine the editor where it's like, okay, what do we have to cut? Just cut every establishing shot. We have to get this down to 2.5 hours.
We're not going to linger. We got to do this every day for the next 2 weeks, or at least Monday through Friday. We're going to take the weekends off. And the schedule for this, by the way, is in the community tab. So you can see exactly which nights we're doing which movies. Again, we're doubling up on some of them. So, and thanks to Austin for setting that up for me, by the way. Austin has got it so that the longest movies don't have anything after them. I think the hardest nights for me are going to be Thursday because we're going to have like 3 days in a row with doubling up movies, and that is a harder day for me to sleep in. But I will be okay. 2 weeks of this, I think I can manage. We'll get it. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 crappy Thursdays, but we'll make it through. We'll make it
Oh,
through.
that's the other reason that's gonna be tough is just because they're not good movies. What is the one for this week? I can't remember.
For Thursday this week?
Yeah,
Let me see.
I forget. I remember being really worried about Thursdays.
Thursday this week is Justice League and Aquaman.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not as bad as I was thinking. I mean,
No,
obviously,
Thursday next week is Shazam 2 and The Flash.
yeah, that's rough. But like, obviously, Joss Whedon's Justice League is rough. But I like Aquaman more than you do, so I will be all right with that. But
Oh, you know what though? The Snyder Cut is also on a Tuesday, so that technically you have like 4 days in a row that kind of suck.
that will feel like doubling up a whole week, won't it? Okay, awesome, wonderful.
Yeah, so technically you have that, so that sucks.
And remind me which days you can't be here for, because I know you said you had a vacation. So sometime next week.
Oh, it'll at the very least be the Friday, possibly Thursday and Friday next week.
Of the end of it.
Yeah, so I might miss. Well, I will miss the last day. I might also miss the second
Okay.
last day.
We'll
but
see if I end up having to do any of this solo. We do have Robert and John planning to come in for some. Jason's going to be here for at least Wednesdays. He's hoping to do BVS tomorrow. He really wanted to be on for that
cool.
one, but I'm not sure if that'll work out.
Well, I know we're gonna have a big group for Black Adam. That might be the one with the biggest group.
It's going to be really hilarious
correct.
if any of these have 4 or 5 people on them. But anyway, well, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the support tonight and super chats. And once again, if you want to jump on Patreon to answer questions, you can be part of the conversation, and we'll keep getting those in for each of these. I'll put one out tonight for the next one. I'll keep doing that. I'll just right after the show, I'll put another one out, and you guys will have all day tomorrow to do it. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And feel free, patrons, to also, like I said, put in any questions or topics you want us to talk about. Helps us pad these things out and have more conversation. But it was actually hard to get them all in because there were so many with this one, and we have plenty to talk about. So that won't happen with every one of these. But anyway, thanks again, guys. Sure appreciate it. And I also should say thanks to Konnor with a K, not Konnor Nielsen, but one of our viewers who's a really great logo guy. He made our intro for this show. He's the guy, Austin, who did the top 50 edits, which
cool, yeah.
Which I still haven't put up the DC, or did I do the DC one and not the Marvel one? I can't remember which one I uploaded. I keep forgetting about that. I gotta get
the DC one, I think.
I gotta get the other one up. I keep forgetting about it. And he did one for the top 100, and I will also get that up. So
cool.
Anyway, thanks to that guy. And anyway, I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan. This was Austin. See you tomorrow. Bye, folks.
See ya.